Yo. It's Grapsody with Will, Phil, and Reg, trying to keep it real instead of what you usually get from these talking heads. It's Grapsody, we're here to fill the void. 3 black fans, different perspective, gotta fill your voice. Coming with the podcast, talking majors, indies in between. Yeah, it's all that, and we're down with Fightful, better fall back. Coming for respect, we connect like a ball bat. No need to double check, these are all facts. You're listening to us talk raps. You're listening to us talk raps. Will, Phil, and Reg. Yeah, we're Grapsody, here to talk raps. Yeah, we're Grapsody, here to talk raps.
Yo, you know what it is? It's Saturday. This is Grapsody. I'm Phil Lindsey. Of course, I'm here with my co-host, Righteous Reg.
In the building, it's your boy, your favorite rapper, your favorite writer, your favorite podcaster. It's Saturday. There's been a lot of dope stuff going on. Been having a great week, but man, we are capping it off. Very dope today. I'm excited about this one, Phil. Like I said on Twitter, I don't usually study when we have a guest. Like we have a guest, I'm like, all right, we're gonna talk wrestling. Like this is gonna be easy. This time, I'm like, yo, I gotta check out everything that this guy has ever done. Phil, when we started this podcast, we wanted to have a rapper come on and talk some wrestling with us. You made a goals list this year, and for us to achieve it this way, I never imagine that we could have a crossover like this. So today we have a legendary battle rapper joining us here on Grapsody. DNA, how you doing today, my bro?
I'm doing great, man. I appreciate y'all for having me. You know what I mean? I just was tweeting out the YouTube so everybody on my end could tune in. But yeah, man, I'm glad to be here, man. I've seen a lot of work that y'all been doing. Y'all podcast, Fightful in general, to the wrestling coaching community. And you know what I mean? It's amazing work. So I'm just happy I could be here and be, you know what I mean, a part of it.
Man, appreciate you coming through. I was saying before we went live, our former co-host, you know, used to have arcade in the background, so it's like we're back, man. We got NBA Jam in the background. What's going on with you?
Chilling. So yeah, like, know what I mean, because the way the camera is set up, I wish I had like the 360. My girl got it upstairs. I would have rotated it, but I got the WrestleMania arcade, the original one. So
okay.
Yeah, that's in there. Yeah. So I'll be tuning in to Doink the Clown, Lex Luger, all them characters on there. But yeah, other than that, man, I'm just I'm blessed, man. Just continuing to work, man. Finding new avenues, to, you know what I mean, bring light on battle rap, bring light on myself, you know what I mean. So definitely.
I was gonna ask, are you currently preparing for a battle at the moment?
Nah. So, in these later days, like of my career, whatever, in terms of battle rap, I don't really battle as much as I used to.
Right.
Just because I got so many other things going on, so many other things that I'm trying to push, and I feel like I already displayed to the world, you know what I mean, what I'm capable of doing there. So now when I do battle, it has to be a very significant battle of importance, or it's you know what I mean, to bring light on other cultures into it, like what I just did with Charlie Clips. So more so like a demonstration. Like for anybody that doesn't know what we do, you know what I mean, I'll always be ready to display that, because now just off of that we did one round, we didn't even do 3, but off of that one round battle, the attention that's been brought of people, because I feel like those worlds of wrestling and battle rap have always been there, but I just feel like nobody has really went out their way to connect it. So off of that one event that I did, like the traction that's been coming from it is like amazing. So
yeah, man, if people did not watch that, it is up on YouTube. You can watch DNA and Charlie Clips from Halloween Havoc. Dope show. Definitely cool to see wrestling and battle rap emerge. Had Samoa Joe in the building, had Top Dollar in the building. How did that come together?
Well, actually, I had a relationship with Samoa Joe for over 10 years. So Samoa Joe, you know what I mean, shout out to him. He's actually responsible for me going to my first WWE event ever. So that's
Okay.
how we really connected. You know what I mean? My stepson was a big wrestling fan, and I kind of had got out of wrestling because I was a big Attitude Era wrestling fan. That's why our podcast is the Attitude Era. And
Word.
I just never got to see any of my favorite wrestlers live. So um, once my stepson was saying that he wanted to watch wrestling, I'm like, yo, I talked to Samoa Joe, and he didn't believe me. But he like, I just talked to Samoa Joe, regularly. Like he watched battle rap. I knew what he was doing in wrestling, but I wasn't tapped in. So he didn't believe me. So I was like, yo, let me ask him about SummerSlam, and he actually wound up giving me tickets. That's the first time I met him, and we always kept in contact, connected, go to shows and meet up with him, hang out. And he always wanted to come to a battle rap event, but his schedule just never permitted. So when I had seen him, I ran into him at the AEW Grand Slam event back in September. And I was like, yo, I got this Halloween Havoc thing going on in October, and it's all wrestling. So he was like, yo, if I ain't come to anything else, I gotta be here for this one. And then you know what I mean, the rest is history. Pulled up, and with AJ Francis Top Dollar, he just seen me promoting it on Twitter. And I didn't even know he watched battle rap, and he timed in like, yo, I gotta be there. And then I DM'd him, and he really pulled up. So it was amazing.
Yeah. Dallas also said that he wants to jump in there and do some battle rap. I mean,
Yeah, so right now I'm gonna give y'all exclusive. Like right now, we actually um we definitely were gonna do other wrestling bar battle events, but I like being creative. So right now we in the process of setting up a battle rumble where it's gonna follow the concept of the Royal Rumble.
Oh
mm,
wow, that's
And
gonna be nuts.
yeah, and you know what I mean, a lot of battle rappers is gonna be in there, but wrestlers is entering it too. So we're really gonna merge both worlds. So
Yo,
it's gonna be crazy. Yeah. So we just came up with the format of how we're gonna do it. It's gonna take place in Tampa the same weekend as the Royal Rumble. So yeah, it's gonna be crazy. So I don't know. Hopefully one day we could get AJ in there, but for now he's definitely on his Vince McMahon with me setting up these events behind the scenes. So he's working. He's working
nah, that sounds dope, man. Definitely keep us posted on that one.
for sure.
you know, the beyond you having this Halloween Havoc event, you're so synonymous as a battle rapper with wrestling bars. Like this isn't a new thing for you. Like throughout your entire career, you've thrown wrestling bars in there. I, as a rapper, for a while, it was like when I would say wrestling things, it felt corny. Like I would rap wrestling stuff to people, and they'd be like, "What is this guy talking about? Like, like, why are you saying these things?" And like recently, over the last a bunch of years, battle rappers like you, rappers like West Side Gun, have brought wrestling to the forefront and made it look dope instead of like looking corny. What was your motivation behind adding so many wrestling bars in there? And did you think it would connect so much with the battle rap community?
So I mean, like when I'm coming up with material, I always like to pull from from my Rolodex of like what I have a lot of information on. So wrestling
Mm-hmm.
happens to be one of the things that I was privileged to watch as a child and have a lot of um info on. But the difference from Halloween Havoc to when I'm in a real battle is I gotta tread lightly. So
Right.
all my bars and real battles are surface level. NWO, Hulk Hogan, Rock, Stone Cold, John
Mm-hmm.
Cena, maybe. Now Roman Reigns. Um, and it was like I forgot when I did one and I seen the reaction because I was always skeptical. That's why I never had too many. I just had
Right.
maybe one or two, or maybe as a setup. And when they landed, and then I'm watching Sheed Happens have one, or Snake Eyes, or Don Marino, or Jerry West, or Chess, or Z the Dropout, and I'm seeing them land. I'm like, yo, everybody's rocking with wrestling because everybody got a wrestling bar. So it was just
Yep.
like, and that's how I felt. What I felt like is exactly how you felt, Righteous. Like nobody really made it cool. It was always looked
Mm-hmm.
at, yo, you watch wrestling. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, a lot of people watch wrestling. Why are we acting like I'm the only one here that loves wrestling? We all love wrestling. Even if we don't watch wrestling now, we all watch wrestling at some point in
Right.
time. So I'm just like, yo, I just got to bring these worlds together and make people understand it and say it's okay. Because that's the thing with life. Nothing is cool until you make it cool. So when I
Right.
first said I'm doing a Halloween Havoc event, oh, it's corny. Oh, they're gonna have the same lines. Oh, it's not gonna be nothing. A whole event about wrestling, they were frowning upon it. Now when it actually happened, it's one of the best battle events of the year because one is fun. At the same time, everybody still was able to take it serious while still enjoying themselves. And two, they're looking at it's like a bunch of rappers coming with gun bars. Well, how many guns are there? How many movies have guns in there? How many it never ends. So it's the same thing with wrestling. How long has wrestling been going on? So now when they actually watch the event and see, okay, so we had 10 different artists and we probably got three of the same references. Now you understand that. You know what I mean? Wrestling, you could go on for days. Like it's so many things I didn't cover. So it's just all about, putting it to the forefront and people actually have to see to believe. That's like a saying that never gets old. So now that they've seen it, now it's like it's cool. And like you said, somebody that comes from the background that West Side Gun comes from, the type of music he makes, and then shows the variation and the diversity with him as a person. Because as people, we wear many hats, right? You got to be a
Right.
friend, you got to be a husband, a boyfriend, you have to be a father, you have to be a co-worker. You're not limited, and I think that's the problem in just life in general. Everyone wants to have one variation of you. If you tough, you got to be tough 24/7, or that takes away from your toughness. When it's like
Right.
everybody has different versions to themselves, and I feel like because on a commercial industry side, West Side was able to do that. That helped with like me doing it on the battle rap side because now you see him doing it, and then now it makes it go okay. Well, if he could do it, then such a you get what I'm saying. And we coming from two different
Right.
aspects. Like he's
Yep.
just got a podcast and he's front row. You know what I mean? Looking like $1 million at all these events, and then I'm looking at it like, yo, I see so many times they do battle rap references or they got battle rap incorporated in their storylines. Why are we not using the battle rappers to do it? So that was like my whole driving force of creating the podcast and everything else. Like just create the like the connection between both worlds.
Yeah. Speaking of the podcast, Attitude Era podcast, man. Like just seeing you guys get these interviews. Like I saw you guys interview Jacqueline. You guys recently interviewed Eric Bischoff, man. So you guys are not like just like we're doing a wrestling podcast. You guys are like actually like out here
Doing it.
like talking to the wrestlers.
Yeah,
But
no,
yeah,
1,000,000%, 1,000,000%. We're interviewing and talking to the right because you know what it was. I never want to come from a standpoint of being fake. So I never
Yeah.
do anything that I don't love. Like I'm not just hey I'm gonna come into the wrestling community because I know it's huge and I can make money. Like that's never my angle. So that's why it was such a niche even name of the podcast because I'm familiar with the Attitude Era podcast. So if you watch the podcast, you will see mainly Attitude Era people on there or people that come from that time period. And then Z the Dropout, he didn't grow up in the Attitude Era. He grew up in Ruthless Aggression, PG era on. So that's why,
Hmm.
we have the combo of I got all the older knowledge and he got more of the newer knowledge. And now I'm learning about what's going on now. I'm tuning back in now and he's finding out about the past. So that dynamic just makes it you know, a special thing. And then how it really started, we really didn't start it to interview um people from wrestling in general. It was just me having a love for wrestling and being a battle rapper. And it was really a shot in the dark. We started the podcast and I'm verified on Instagram. And this is before, the meta thing. Now everybody's verified. But this
yeah.
is when being verified meant something. So I used my check to reach out to Devon Dudley and he didn't know who I was, but I knew he would answer because of the check, and he did. And he wound up being our first. He wound up being our first guest. And what I love is with this whole dynamic that we got is a lot of wrestlers that wrestle now know who I am, and I know who they are. But a lot of older wrestlers don't. Like, so after I interviewed Devon, now he's tuned into battle rap because I freestyled with him, and he's like, "Wow!" Like,
Let's
it's
go.
almost like I'm missing out on all of this. And then I meet Rakishi, I interview him, and I freestyle for him, and he goes crazy. And then he goes back and tells the Usos, and they're like, "Yo, like Pops, you late? Like we've been not watching DNA." So just to bring that whole You get what I'm saying? Like, because when they
Yep.
go into the
Yeah.
interviews, you know, they don't know what to expect because they've been doing interviews forever. They don't know what type of questions are going to be asked. So I respect it on their behalf, where it's like, you know, a little reserved, like, hey, what's this guy about to? And every single time, even to D'Lo Brown, as soon as I tell them, like, yo, I freestyle and I do a demonstration, now they become fans of me. Same thing with the Godfather. So it's like an instant mutual respect, which like I feel is great because these are people I watched and admired growing up, and now they hear my craft and see what I'm doing, and now it's like really merging, you know, because that's all I wanted to really do. Like I feel like I'm just the forefront because it's a million battle rappers that, you know what I mean, are just as talented as me, but you know, it takes somebody to be the spokesperson. So that's the illest part of it for me.
Yeah, yeah, that's dope. I mean, we do see so many rappers get podcasts. Like we got Mav has his podcast. Like, of course, Joe and all these other guys have podcasts. So to see a rapper decide, like, I'm gonna do a wrestling podcast, it just seems like so like, it just seems like so outlandish. Like, word, like, okay,
Yeah. No, 1,000,000%. And that's the thing. I didn't want to be, you know, like when you sit down and do it, I don't want to do a podcast just to do a podcast. I don't want to
yeah,
do what everybody else is doing. My whole thing is like you said, besides me and West Side Gun, there's nobody else that
yeah,
really is a rapper that has a wrestling podcast. So it
Hmm.
was just like, yo, man, I love talking about this. I love like this was my life at one point. And you know, I want to like at the same time, like I said, I'm getting back into it now, learning things. Like I just did the Crown Jewel recap. I watched that whole event, top to bottom. So I'm like, yo, it's a lot of dope people now. Now you know what I mean. Shout out to Solo too, because also off of that one round that I did with Clips, the Usos reached out, Solo reached out, Umaga Son Zilla reached out,
Mm.
Rakishi tapped in, D'Lo Brown watched it. So it was like Hurricane. It was so much. I'm forgetting a lot of people just seeing what's going on, like, wow, this is crazy. And I'm like, yo, this should have been happening because hip hop and wrestling go hand in hand.
That's very interesting that you bring those names up because there's a very famous, you talked about it a little bit, a very famous wrestling and battle rap crossover that happened in the WWE with the Usos and the New Day.
Yeah.
Wale was a part of that. You seen that? How did you feel
Yeah.
about that kind of crossover happening on a platform like that?
I thought it was amazing. I just one only issue I had, one of us, you know what I mean, should have
Yeah,
been in there.
exactly. One of y'all.
Should
Yeah.
have been in the
Hmm.
mix. You get what I'm saying? Like, cause I just feel like, you know, it's always admiration, it's always imitation is the biggest form of flattery. So it's always dope to see that. But me personally, like I'm just authentic. So I want to bring the source there. You get what I'm saying? Like,
Hmm.
I did a mixtape years ago called The Silver Cup, and I like
yep,
remade Mama Said Knock You Out, but I had LL Cool J on the intro. So I feel like
Right.
that just adds, you know what I'm saying? I remixed Shook Ones, but I had Havoc in the video with the
Hmm.
Hennessy jerseys on. So that's always how my mind works. Like if I'm gonna ever recreate anything or do anything over, I gotta have, you know, where's the inspiration coming from being a part of it? Because that's like the extra stamp that solidifies it. So yeah, but it was dope to see though.
yeah, for sure. Every time I see that and I hear like the Don DeMarco tag and everything on there, I'm like, this is really happening in the WWE ring. I'm sure a lot of people in the audience have no idea what that is a reference to or
At
anything.
all.
Like, it's just
At
crazy.
all. At all.
Um, Man, when I think about your career though, like I didn't know you were a wrestling fan, but when I think about your career, there's so many things that say wrestling fan. Like even like you having a slogan, you used to do the NWX uh joint
Hmm.
afterwards and everything. I'm like, this looks like he took cues from wrestling in some ways. Am I off?
No, you're all the way on. So like even when I cut promos from watching Ric Flair, watching The Rock, NWX. It's a variation of D Generation X and NWO. That was actually me and Conceited out there. Like, what are the two littest groups in wrestling ever? Where it was just like, you know, they were defining the rules, doing whatever, going, you know, just going against the system. So it was like, if we're gonna do any battle rap group, it got to be that. So that's why it was NWX. So that came from wrestling, and then yeah, it was throwing that up. You know what I mean? So yeah, definitely, wrestling has always been incorporated in my career and a lot of things that I do because I feel like it was a cultural it was a cultural shift in just the world. You know, even now, but I'm saying at that attitude era time, those are like defining moments as the world was changing. Wrestling took a big hand in shifting how people operated, how they spoke, how they moved, what was their attitude. So, you know, it was a great time just in the world in the 90s.
Yeah, I mean, wrestling definitely has that call and response too as well. So watching you do the get them the fuck out of here every time and watching the crowd get louder and louder for it every
Hmm.
time, it was dope.
It's crazy, man. I watched that. Like I said, coming into this podcast, I watched a lot of your battle raps, and interesting. You talked about kind of wanting to represent battle rap on a stage. Talked about representing, and you should have been. There should have been some kind of representation in WWE. We've seen you represent on big stages like the BET Awards. How was it doing? Like, uh, because a lot of your battles are long form, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 9 minutes, 10 minutes, stuff like that. When you go to a format like that and they give you 60 seconds, what's the difference in preparation of I got 60 seconds to battle rap or I got, 20 minutes to go off on somebody?
Well, when you got longer rounds in the battle, you able to, it's wrestling reference. It's a 60-man Iron Man. It's a 60-minute Iron Man match with Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart, opposed
Mhm.
to the Rock versus Hurricane. I got to
Right.
make this look good real quick. This is at that point in time he's a jobber. I got 90 seconds to, what I mean, let him do two moves. I rock bottom him, do the people's elbow. So in that sense, just using that metaphor, basically I got to get straight to it. So I always know my talent that I'm able to you know be very successful in the real art form of battle rap, where it's 4 or 5 minutes around. But I also know that I am one of the few guys that is able to make battle rap look good to another culture or
Right.
subculture that doesn't really understand it. So when I got 90 seconds on BET, um, I'm just thinking I gotta say a bunch of things that resonate, a bunch of things that make these people understand what this is fast and quickly. So that comes from a lot of current events, a lot of surface level things, and I'm just straight to it, back to back punching. It's more rapid. So 60 seconds. I may have one setup line. I'm at the BET Awards. After I get that off, everything else is a punchline or a
Mm,
metaphor that they can resonate with and understand. So it's actually more challenging. A lot
yeah.
of people think
Yeah.
it's easier, but you got to get your point across way faster, and you have to wow an audience that is not really familiar with it, what it is that you do. So, I always like that challenge. That's why I do the power recaps. Now I'm doing the wrestling recaps. Like anytime you're tapping in to an audience that's not familiar, it's really like an audition. So you have to make sure your first impression is everlasting, where you get these people to leave watching the video or leave watching the battle and go, "What is this? This is amazing. Why have I not been knowing about this?" So that's what I try to do.
Yeah, man. Just throw a wrestling term in there. 60 second, get all your shit in, man. Just
Hmm.
get all your spots in. Um, man, but getting to share that stage for K Shine last year, man, how dope was that? Because you guys, of course, have done like battle raps together, the tag team. You guys had the click
Hmm.
together. Just how was it sharing that moment with him?
Oh, I mean, nah, it's amazing. It's amazing when you get an opportunity like that to be on a grand stage like BET, with somebody that you had a great rapport with, that you created history with, and you guys get to create history again. So it was super dope. You know what I mean? Just to, like I said, to share that moment, because we're on stage, and then it's up to us to, like I said, make a bunch of people leave. Like, why am I not watching battle rap? YouTube DNA, YouTube K.
You were just recently in my neck of the woods doing a 2-on-2 battle rap with the homie Charlie Clips out here in Oakland. Um,
Hmm.
you lightly christened y'all the Brothers of Destruction. How is it to tag team battle rap? That's another different element that's added in where you guys gotta collaborate on punches and timing, and it's just like a wrestling tag team. Like you gotta
Yeah.
know when you guys are gonna hit the move together, when you're gonna get your shit in, when he's gonna get his in. How is it kind of putting that together?
Um, that's like it's like being in sync. It's such a dope experience because you got to be on timing with your partner. Like you said, we can't be off. So I'm looking. It's not like I could be amazing by myself, but we
Hmm.
could be a horrible team. And we've
Yep.
seen that happen in battle rap so many times. Like this guy by himself is wow. And so is this other guy. But now as a team, they're not in sync. The coordination is off. The chemistry is bad. This guy's rapping over this guy. They don't know how to mesh well. So it's a challenge in that. And like people always think being the same attracts, but like opposites attract. Like me and Kayshawn, in my opinion, is the best 2-on-2 ever in battle rap history, just because we're so different. He's more of a attacker, and I'm more of strategic. So
Hmm.
it's like he's gonna just full fledged bunch of energy, fuel, performance, boom, 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 and I'm more so the guy that's gonna scheme, that's gonna outthink you, angle. So when you put those two dynamics together, you get like you get everything. Everything you're looking for in the battle, you get it there. So like I've teamed up with a lot of people, but the top two would be Charlie Clips and Kayshawn. But me and Kayshawn would be more like the Road Warriors, the Hardy
Hmm.
Boys, um, Usos, New Day, Edge and
Hmm.
Christian, the Dudley Boys. And me and Charlie Clips, I would say we're more like the Brothers of Destruction or DX because
Hmm.
we got our great solo careers, and even when we come together as a team, it's fire. But our best work isn't as a team. When as the Hardy Boys, you could say literally their best work is them being tag team partners. Same thing with the
Hmm.
Road Warriors. Same thing with Edge and Christian. Same thing with the Dudleys and the Usos. So that's the difference from those two teams.
Man, I don't know if other people have picked up on this, but like AEW shows in Atlanta and AEW shows in Queens are different. I've noticed every time Grand Slam is a thing, there are more rappers there. Like you see Fab there, you see like Who Kid and like all these other people there from the culture. And so like seeing you pull up and do like the Attitude Era stuff last year, it has just like confirmed to me that like Grand Slam is kind of like it's kind of like the spot for hip hop guys to show up.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm cool with Prince Nana, I'm cool with Swerve, I'm cool with Teasy, I'm cool with Shotty Lee, Samoa Joe. So last year, yeah, Shotty Lee got me back there, and then I was just facilitating the interviews and freestyles and podcasts, and it was amazing. That was my first time actually um backstage at an AEW event, and then I followed up and went this year. But yeah, last year I seen Fab, Who Kid. Yeah, it was a star-studded event. It was a lot of people in the building.
Yeah, it's crazy to see the culture represented that way. Because I think at one point AEW was just seen as like I don't want to say just like for niche fans, but a lot of people would be like, "Man, this ain't for us." And you know what I mean when I say us.
Yeah.
So when you see things like that in Queens, and you see people like Fab pulling up, Fab's coming with his son's a wrestling fan. It's just dope to see it.
No, 1,000,000%, 1,000,000%. It was. I wound up seeing Fab backstage, so yeah, it was definitely lit.
That's a pretty good transition because you're a Queens rapper. I have a question about that. What is it about y'all Queens brothers? What's in the water out there? Why are there so many great rappers that come out of Queens? Is it I don't know what I watch all these. I've been immersed in hip hop history because of the 50th anniversary, and like the line is all the Queens rappers just spit. What is it about Queens?
Ah man, I mean, everybody got a different story. Everybody got a different generation, but I mean, just growing up in Queens anyway. For me, is just like being a product of your environment. Like me, fortunately, I I did a couple things that you would require, I guess. What I mean, under the street umbrella, but more so, I knew what I wanted to do with being a rapper, so I kind of shied away from that. But a lot of my friends got caught up in that, family members, so I got to see it just good enough without actually getting all the way in it and having to get out of it. So
Mhm.
when you got that lens of being close, because everybody in life likes to be close to danger, but you really don't want to be in it. It's very few that actually want to put
Mhm.
their feet in it. And those are the ones that where they wind up having these crazy stories. So I was able to be right at the door, but always, not me, keep myself on the other side of the door. But just seeing that and growing up in circumstances where you on SSI, you on like my mom, I'm saying on SSI, on Section 8, on food stamps, and just know that my mom's would have took care of me. Um, but what type of living is that? Like barely making ends meet. I always, once I seen that and I seen my circumstances and seen growing up how it was, I always wanted to do more. So that mindset put me into, yo, this rap thing that I like to do. Maybe I can make something out of this, which took it serious to say like, yo, I don't want to depend on nobody else that barely has it. I want to be able to do it myself and then be able to do it for them. And that was always my motivation and my driving force. And I feel like in them circumstances of, not just Queens, like any Oakland, wherever you from, any bad environment is always gonna make, you get those people that rise to that occasion because you have no other option. You put a kid in an environment where he gets everything that he wants his whole life. 9 times out of 10, he's not going to turn into 50 Cent or LeBron James because he got everything he needs.
Right.
You put the circumstances of 50 Cent, who doesn't know his father, his mother burns up in a fire. You only hear stories about it. He's in Southside, barely making ends meet. You just see that hunger and that drive that turns into this multi-million dollar mogul that, we see today. Same thing for LeBron. I heard there was like one point where his mom was too broke to take care of him. So he's living with family members. When you deal with those type of circumstances, you only get success in that adversity story where the person comes up from poverty to being one of the most successful people. And I mean, that's just, like I said, I didn't have it the worst, but I didn't have it great either. A lot of things I wanted, I couldn't get. I seen my mom struggle, seeing her go through her health issues and all that. And it was really like, what am I going to do about this? Am I going to turn into, you know what I mean? She had battles with drug abuse. Am I going to turn into that, or am I going to go the whole other opposite route? And I was just like, nah, I'm going to go that way. So I feel like environment always makes success stories.
Definitely. Man, into some wrestling, I guess, because I'm sure there's some people like, man, y'all just gonna hit into battle rap or rap the whole time. But you said like you grew up, of course, in the Attitude Era. I think most people that were introduced to wrestling, they came up during the Attitude Era. Just watching wrestling now, like, what would you say is like the difference? Because I think a lot of people are like, how do we get back to that place where it's a pop culture thing? Like, I don't know what for you feels different about wrestling right now.
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. It's not wrestling, it's the world. The way the world is ran today, the Attitude Era could not exist. Wrestling would
Yeah,
get canceled. And a bunch of people
exactly.
and a
Definitely.
bunch of and a bunch of people that would do the things that were done in the Attitude Era would get canceled as well. So it's impossible to do it. It's like a lot of people in the wrestling community, it's not a favorite name to say, but you got to give credit where it's due. Vince Russo was able to you know see what was going on at that time and incorporate it into wrestling. At that time period, it was anti-hero, it was rebellious, it was baggy jeans, it was, you know, just the rebellious behavior, like going against the system type of error. And then they provided that in wrestling with, the biggest wrestler of that time period, Stone Cold. Stone
Hmm.
Cold was saying a bunch of things that people wanted to say to their boss that they couldn't. That's why that's one of the greatest storylines ever. So the difference now is, if you're watching it now, the wrestling might be better. So that's good for people that actually want to become wrestlers. It's definitely way more kid friendly, so your kids can actually enjoy watching it now, and you don't have to say, "Hey, what did he just say?" or mute it or turn it off. But if you are somebody that watched it when I watched it, I can't erase what I saw.
Right.
So you know what I mean?
Yeah,
For me, it's like, all right, this is cool. I could actually let my daughter watch this if she turned to be a wrestling fan. But this is not, it's kind of like one of them older things. You feel old, like, and back in my day, this would have happened. The table would have been there. They would have set it on fire. It'd have been an infernal match. Jade
Sounds
and
like hip
Bianca.
hop, DNA.
Yeah, Jade and Bianca would have been doing a bra and panties match, and you just start thinking of
yo,
all those, all those
Word.
that sounds
you
crazy.
start thinking of all those crazy, variables that you would think would happen. But I mean, I like that from the time period that I watched it to now, it's still afloat and it actually makes more money now. And
Yeah.
it is still a great product, even though it has changed drastically. That's very hard to do. Usually, when you have somebody that is used to a product being a certain way, it is very hard to change the product and still grow, because now you're gonna have a lot of people that don't like it because you took so many things away from it. But I will say this: the closest thing to the Attitude Era right now in wrestling is the Bloodline story.
Mm.
That
Mm.
storyline is the closest thing to the Attitude Era. I feel like that could survive in the Attitude Era.
Mm. I mean, they family, so that doesn't that kind of makes a lot of sense. There's a lot of what you were describing there about pro wrestling. There's a lot of parallels with battle rap because I remember the first battle rap I ever saw was probably in 2000, like early 2001,
Mm.
like in Bakersfield, people were battle rapping in the hip hop shops, and like battle rap comes from the streets, like straight up.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
now
fact.
with some of these events, it's WrestleMania, man. Like these Smack events are huge, giant crowds. There's promotion. Drake's putting on shows. There's like all kinds of like it's transitioned from being the rawest form of hip hop to being like a global phenomenon led by people like you. How do you feel in that transition? I mean, you've helped with a lot of it. Is it in a good place right now, you think?
Yes and no. It's in a great place in terms of financially. Battle rappers are making the most money that they ever made in the history of the art form. But in terms of the actual art form, when it turns into an industry, you know what wrestling, right? Like let's just call a spade a spade. How much iller was it when The Rock and Triple H was doing that Iron Man match? It's 4-4. The whole corporation is in the ring, and you see those kids pop up with dresses, and we've never heard this Undertaker music ever
Mm-hmm.
before. And it's this, we don't even know that this is the Undertaker because we used to the doom dum, and he pops out on the motorcycle and tears them all apart. Now, if CM Punk shows up on the 25th, we already know. We already hearing about it. CM Punk is coming back, y'all. We see that they updated his profile on WWE. They changed the picture.
Mm-hmm.
He'll be back. So you see what I'm saying? Like, so that's battle rap now. Matches before they get announced. People dive into people's lives to where it used to just be about who's better. Now, I
Right.
heard this person slept with this person. This person got robbed here. This person got beat up here. This, and it's just a bunch of things that don't matter. So I feel like that
Mm.
is the way the world is now. Everything is what I mean? Everything is instant gratification and it just spoils certain things. So that's my takeaway from battle rap. And then now you got people, because this, it's like, it's great, right? Wrestling makes the most money it makes now, but you have people that just show up to wrestling events because it's a casual thing to do.
Yeah.
Right.
Like a guy be a big wrestling fan and he'll take his girl out. Like, hey, babe, our first date is Survivor Series because it's in Chicago. So that happens in battle rap now. Now it's people that don't even really watch battle rap, but they're going because it's a casual thing now. So now you get a crowd of people that's just there that don't know the art form, so they don't know what to react to. So they're
Mm.
reacting to
Yeah.
anything. Or it's a
Wow.
popularity contest. I'm not even coming to see who's better this night. I'm coming to see because I know this is the only
Like
place
Tay
I can
Rock
see
is
him.
here. I'm cheering for Tay Rock because he's here. That doesn't matter what he says.
yeah.
Exactly. So that kind of ruins the battles. That's why if y'all watch, right, with all the names that I had on Halloween Havoc, I could have sold out a venue. I could have had 500 to 700 people in there. But notice where it's at. It's in my guy Uncle Ra 15 Minutes of Fame studio because I didn't want that to happen. I want
Mm-hmm.
everybody to hear every wrestling bar. I don't shout out to y'all, but I don't want you just showing up because you're a DNA supporter and you know nothing about wrestling. Because now you're gonna be standing there and it's taken away from it. I need everybody here to be, what I mean? I need it to be an intimate setting for what I'm trying to do. And I feel like sometimes now, these big audiences, it kind of takes away from battling because they're not really listening to what's being said. They're just there to, okay, it sounds like I should react now. Or I don't like the way this
This
person's
is
dressed.
awesome.
Yeah. I don't like the way I
We
don't like
want tables.
yeah, I don't like the way this person is dressed, so I'm not gonna cheer for them. So, it's give and take. I feel like that's what any industry as it grows. But I got a question for y'all.
Yeah.
From watching me versus Charlie clips, what was like y'all favorite wrestling bar that I had in the battle?
I think the USA line that
The
that got
USA
me
line's
that got
crazy.
me up out of my seat. I'm like, yo, no,
Mm,
that was
As
fire.
somebody like also from that era, just like knowing like they're on USA now, but like the connection to WWE and USA and like putting those things together is like
Yeah,
That's it right there. That's all you need.
that entendre was
yeah.
crazy too, man. Like I was like, nah, that was fire. There's a few other lines in there that I was just like, nah, he was going in on it, man. Like even like the Godfather line towards the beginning of it, I was like, man, that
See,
probably went over some heads, man.
Exactly what you were describing about not having the big crowd. You couldn't get that Godfather, that whole scheme off with like just a regular big battle rap crowd. You got to know that he played these different characters. You got to know the history of pro wrestling to really get into the bars.
Yeah, so like that's why I asked y'all just to break it down for the people that didn't, because y'all got a whole different audience here that probably never seen the battle. But when y'all get a chance, DNA versus Charlie Clips, it's an all wrestling bar battle. So everything said in the battle is a wrestling reference. But like for instance, right, just to break it down for the people on here. So I'm battling my brother. His name is Charlie Clips. We all know the Godfather's real name is Charles Wright. And Clips has a habit of not writing in his battles and freestyling. So that's why I said, your favorite wrestler must be the Godfather because we don't never see Charles Wright. But depending on the rooms that we in, it's the subtle lines that come after that are key. That when you're battling in a big audience, you can't do that. So then after, that's why I said word to Mustafa, I came to calm a nigga down because you played Kama Mustafa. And I said, so he won't gain support. Yeah, I know the Godfather's real name is Charles Wright. Yeah, I came to mess up y'all whole train of thought. So it's like the whole scheme of, doing all that. You can't get that off with a big stage because I would have just had to just do Charles Wright and then go on to something else. So that's the ill part about battling in a smaller setting. You get to actually build on an idea more. So like though for me, it was like the things that I was able to do with the extras. But like, yeah, the Mexican, because my friend Don Marino is Mexican, so I put that on USA like Monday Night Raw. Yeah, I thought that was like super creative. But yeah, I like that. Me personally, I really like the bars like I said with Charles Wright. Like when I was able to do all those pay-per-views and then the singing is guess which room I'm in? I'm in your house.
In
Like
your
I'll be
house.
liking those because they really go for the person I'm battling. Then it just be a random wrestling bar. You get what I'm saying? Like even when I was like, because Charlie Clips is from Harlem. So when I was like, yo, I know the fastest way to Harlem, don't try to play games. We could change lanes, let his brains hang. So try and test. And I'm letting those ring on the A train. Like I like those type of
That's
bars
crazy.
because you got to take the A train to get to Harlem, and then the wrestling reference is Test teamed up with the A train, and A train Albert had the nose ring. So that's why I'm like, to me, all of those bars go crazy. Like one more is like Bret Hart and the excellence of execution. When you battle T Rex, you was never losing. You had a lot of flair with Randy, but after that, we seen no evolution. And then for the people that don't know, Charlie Clips battled T Rex. T Rex's real name is Randy. And then the wrestling reference, Ric Flair with Randy Orton. And then after that, they was in the group Evolution. So for me, that's what I tried to do in the battle. I tried to just make a bunch of references that really apply to my opponent. So it's like a deeper level of, the metaphors than just the random. I had the random ones. You'll see a piece of his wig like Kane when he took the mask off. But I wanted to do things that really connected to clips.
Nah, man, definitely getting it off. This is, if you're listening to us, this is 14 plus years in of battle rap, man. Ain't for just novices, man. This is a legend.
Just you describing that, I'm like, as a rapper, I'm like, battle rappers are the Bryan Danielson of hip hop because like they are the best. They're the most technical. Like it's like, how do you put this together? How do you do that? Like when I watch Bryan Danielson matches, I'm like, how do you do this differently than this guy does?
Yeah.
But like the way like y'all put words together is way different. It's on a different level. But some people might not see y'all as, because you're not mainstream, you're not selling a million records, you're not on the level as Drake and J. Cole and stuff, as like a different level. But you guys are technically better rappers than all those guys. So it's like, it's all these parallels are just so interesting. Thanks for putting on that battle because like you're merging these things that I've loved for my entire life. I've always wanted hip hop and wrestling to come together like this because hip hop wrestling bars are like old as time. Like Q-Tip was get them off, RZA. Like there's all these like different wrestling bars that go back. And now it's like come to the forefront. And like I said, it's fun, it's dope. You guys are adding a really dope element to it. What's the do you still have any battle rap goals? Like are there still rappers that you like to battle? There's still people on the list that you want to tear down? Or are you in like the ambassador mode that you're in?
Yeah, I'm more so like it's a couple people that's running. You know what I mean? Which you know that always happens. You know what I mean? But on a larger scale, I feel like you got to know when things shift for you. Like I know I'm more of an asset business wise. I'm more of an asset doing things like this at this point in my career than just to be the guy that's just hanging around, lingering around. Because I can, you know what I mean? Like I haven't lost a step at all. I've actually gotten better because I really take my craft serious. But I know, you just gotta know. Like I'm really in that regard. I'm really spiritual in terms of myself and the universe and just knowing what path is set out. Like I just know where I'm more useful for. I'm more useful
Right.
like doing this, like connecting the wrestling world and the battle rap world for a bigger landscape than to just keep battling. You know what I mean? Not that there's anything wrong with that, but everything in life is evolving and growing. So
And
I
you've
won't
battled
battle.
everybody anyways already.
Yeah, and there's no point, in me battling 20 times a year when I've already proven like I'm, if not the greatest doing this, one of the greatest doing this. So let me introduce what I do to another world that therefore will trickle down to um other people getting these opportunities once I'm able to open the door. Like I want to be the guy that opens the door, like I said, fully blown with wrestling and battle rap, and I foresee it. I already foresaw it happening. That's what made me do the event. And then, when I'm doing it, I did that all myself. I paid for it out of pocket. I put the card together. I hand selected all the matchups on the card because I knew what I need this person to do this. Like that's key with everything. Like, you know what I mean? I can't just say, oh, we got DNA and Charlie Clips and boom, I think the card is good. No, I need chess because chess IQ and wrestling is higher than mine. I need
Yep.
Danny Myers, even though you might not watch wrestling like that, his energy and his dynamic is
Energy.
amazing.
Yeah.
Don Marino because his wrestling IQ is good. Jerry West versus Don Marino because Jerry's a performer. So even though he don't know wrestling, he could bring a lot of wrestling moves to life. Zeta Dropout because you know what I mean. His wrestling IQ is high. So is the guy Osiris, and then Snake Eyes and Sheed. They watch wrestling like the rest of us do. So it was all needed. So I handpicked everybody, knowing like, all right, they're all gonna bring something to this event that's gonna overall make people say, yo, we need more of this. And that's exactly what happened.
For sure. Man, what do you make of? Because I think about this as a podcast. I try not to listen to as many podcasts as I used to because it tries to like flood into what your ideas are for a podcast. But
Definitely.
like listening to current hip hop, man, we've heard so much this year about how hip hop is like in like a down. It's like on a down note because there's so many records that are coming out that are not hidden. Like there's not any big records this year other than like the Drake and like the Offset and some stuff. What do you make of just like the state of hip hop this year?
The state of hip hop in general, I feel like the problem in hip hop, we could correlate this to battle rap, we could correlate it to wrestling, you can correlate it to anything in life. So the problem for me is, right, is people get too caught up in labels. So right, if I come out right now with an album, the newer audience or the newer rappers that can't do what I'll do, they'll say, yeah, that album was fire, but he was just rapping. He was just doing some old school shit.
Mm-hmm.
And then a lot of people that really rap get mind fucked by that. Can I curse on here?
Yeah.
All
Sure.
right, yeah. They get mind fucked by that. And now you'll try to attempt to do something that's not your lane. And I feel like that's what happens in wrestling. That's like, oh, you only good in you know, squash matches. Like for instance, like a Goldberg or a Jade Cargill, when their matches is only 2-3 minutes, and now they'll try to do a longer match. But if that's not your strength, why are you trying to appease to somebody that is not the audience that wants to see that? So I feel like the real rappers in hip hop, they're more so worried about what people are saying they can't do, which I believe they can do. They just choose not to do it, and they do what they do at their best and doing what they do at their best. and it's not being put at the forefront because people want to be political. Nobody's saying, all right, there's nothing wrong with this type of music, but this is not hip hop. I don't know what other name we need to call it because it's dope in the lane that it is, but it's not practicing hip hop. So I feel like people don't want to burn relationships, so they'll let it slide or they won't really speak their piece, and everybody wants to get in the game. Nobody wants to change the game. That's the difference in hip hop. When you had the 90s, everybody was trying to change the game. That's why you got a DMX. That's why you got a Nas. That's why you got a Big. That's why you got a Pop. That's why you got Wu-Tang. That's why you got all these different variations of, yo, even if you dope, if you sound like somebody else, I don't want to hear you. Cut that shit off. That's the infamous Ghostface skit with them with the biting. Right? That was a knock the Big. Because they felt like he was biting off a Nas with the baby on the cover. Now you can get somebody that comes out that sounds just like somebody else, and everybody's gonna be like, "This is dope, though." So it's like once you start letting those little things slide, in the long run, you lose sight of the actual thing that happens. Then, you know, New York radio stops playing real hip hop. So now the whole trajectory of what it is now no longer based on lyricism. It's based on, oh, well, look what he said. Levels are based on your stature and billboards. And then nobody ever really explains what goes into that. So it takes money to make money. Yeah, such and such got a billboard and you know about him because they put $5 million into his project.
Yep.
So that's the weird part about like when you say state, not even this year in general, it's just the politics outweigh the talent. And until somebody makes the talent outweigh the politics, we'll always be in this space of a bunch of dope people that get overshadowed and overlooked because people made it about a bunch of things other than lyricism. You go, how popular is this guy? How many records does he sell? Not is he better than such and such? Is he good?
Nah,
Another parallel, another hip hop and wrestling parallel, straight up.
a lot of great insights there, man. Because you're right. Because there are a lot of clones out here. There are a lot of dudes that's trying to sound like this guy or trying to sound like this guy. And man, from a certain era, you can get run up on doing that. You get knocked the fuck out doing that. Like
you taking my style, like, and my whole thing is like, I'll be lying if I told you I don't got inspiration from certain rappers. Of course, we all do. Or if you really, really listen, you can't pinpoint like, oh, where did DNA get that? But it's nothing obvious. When you hear DNA, you hear DNA because I've added my own twist to it and mastered it to where it's my style. You know what I mean? You can get inspired to hear from different people and take from it too, but it can't be obvious. Like I know people that Big took from, but you got to be a real hip hop head to know that. But he still put it in his own way. Therefore, he was original.
For sure. I don't know. Is there anything this year, like album wise, that you're like, this is like my album of the year. This is what I've been like rocking with the heaviest this year.
I'm gonna be honest, no. But my brother Reigns just told me Jeezy's album is crazy, so I gotta tap into that. Now I see what that's about.
The Jeezy album is good. It's long. It's what, like 29. It's 29 records.
Let me change that. One of my favorite my favorite project this year is Lloyd Banks, Cody 3, Corset and Avenue. So yeah, that's the one that I'm like, yo, this is real. You know what I mean? This is real hip hop. And he's, you know what I mean? He's underrated. A lot of people overlook what he's been doing. You know what I mean? He's dropped 3 projects in 3 years, just dropped the 4th one, Halloween Havoc. So if you just listening for hip hop and somebody that's just, you know what I mean, going. And then on Cody, like Halloween Havoc is more like mixtape Banks, but Cody, he's in that pocket, like got the song about his daughter. You know what I mean? He got the song about what he's going through, how he got to where he's at now. So it's a lot of, you know what I mean? It's a lot of practice in hip hop there. And then he got them joints where he's just styling, where he's just in his pocket, you know what I mean, rhyming on a high level. So yeah.
That's what's up. We got a couple of super chats before you slide on out of here.
Okay.
Our homie Eloquent says, "Oh snap! DNA in the house. Seeing you live at King of the Dot a few times. Salute."
Yeah, appreciate you, my guy. Good looking. I don't know which one. I had a lot of King of the Dot battles. I don't know if it's Disaster, Thesaurus, Sharon. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, I love battling in Canada. Shout out to King of the Dot.
That's what's up. Shout out to our homie Eloquent. Check out Eloquent's project on his Bandcamp. Orion Ben 666 says wrestling and battle rap come from the same DNA, 100%.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely, man. I really, like I said, I already told you I battle Rumble going down in Tampa, but you know what I mean. We're gonna try to do these battle rap wrestling events quarterly, so we definitely keeping it going and making connections and bridging the gap.
Oh, I was gonna ask if it was just gonna be once a year with the Halloween, but you're gonna ramp it up and do even more.
Yeah, we back in January, and then we'll be back in April,
Okay.
and then we'll probably be back like in August, and then we'll do like, you know what I mean? We might not call it Halloween Havoc too. We might do No Mercy. Remember that used to go down in October too. So yeah.
Right. Yo, I might have to pull up to that January show. Is that the one where Mega Ran's a part of that too?
Yes, sir. Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Me,
Yeah.
AJ, and Mega Ran is putting it together. Yep.
That's what's up. All right, yeah, I'm gonna have to see what's up with that. And then Chaos Control says, as a fan of both battle rap and wrestling, I've always said battle rap was more like wrestling than the NBA.
I agree. I agree. I've always said battle rap and wrestling the similarities, you know what I mean, is there. That's why after the next event, we getting belts too. Like, yeah, we going full fledged. We gonna start getting belts. And you know what I mean? We're not gonna go too crazy, but we gonna have storylines. Like obviously the battles won't be scripted, but you know, leading up to it, a lot of things will be scripted in it.
Excited. That's the super chats.
See, I think we got one humper for you, one humper chat from Bizarro Big L. He says, respect DNA. You and Reg got them big homies. Good check out DNA. What's your suggestion of good places to start? And Reg, what's with WWE trying to powerhouse on Von Wagner? There's only one powerhouse when he's coming on the podcast.
Yeah, well, I recommend us a couple of DNA battles before you get out.
Well, for all my wrestling heads in here, first and foremost, go watch DNA versus Charlie Clips. That's on my YouTube right now. All wrestling bars battle, because that's the best of both worlds. But just to see me in my other form when it's battle rap, DNA versus Ill Will, DNA versus Disaster, DNA versus Mickey Fax. Those three right there, you know what I mean? That's my top three.
Yeah, I know so many people that will say you versus Disaster is what got them into battle rap. That was like their
Yeah,
first big battle they watched.
yeah, for sure, for sure. I hear that a lot too.
I think that's all the humper chats that at least had a question for DNA.
Yeah.
All right, bet y'all. Appreciate y'all for having me on, man. Definitely after the live is done, I'm gonna keep sharing it out so they can watch what y'all do too. But I'm gonna definitely promote it. You know what I mean? And this won't be the last time we on it, man. I definitely got to pull back up again.
Same for us. We got to pull up on the Attitude Era podcast
Yeah,
too,
for
real
sure.
soon.
Come through.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, big dog.
All right,
Appreciate you.
gotcha.
With DNA guys, man,
Very dope.
honored to have that guy on our podcast, man.
Legendary.
Hold on, let me get us.
Who is us?
Nah, man, like I'm telling you, man. When I think battle rappers, like DNA's one of them guys, man. Like, man, when you go through and like look at like all those compilations of his battle rap, you look at like all of those compilations of him doing the get him the fuck out of here, man. It's hard not to get hyped off of those memories of watching them battles, man.
Yeah, just talking right now. Before we came on, I put on Best of DNA. It was like an hour worth of just his hardest punches, and I'm like, we're about to interview this guy, and like he mixes the way that he mixes in wrestling in his regular conversation, like he does in his battle raps. Is like, man, this guy's legendary. That was super dope. I'm excited, you guys.
Definitely hyped after that, man. Again, appreciate DNA for coming through, man. Y'all check out him versus Charlie clips for Halloween Havoc. Definitely check out Attitude Wrestling Podcast as well. Follow them on Twitter. You know what I'm saying? Do all the DSPs, do
Do all that.
do the clicks, you know what I'm saying?
So what's up with you, Phil, man? We got a lot. I'm looking at our little top line. I'm like, damn, a lot of stuff happened this week, man. Like it's pretty lit. right?
Yeah, we do have a lot to get into. I mean, let's do the ad break just to
A cleanse.
right quick. Let's throw an ad break and then we'll get into some of these super chats and humper chats.
Fitbod.me/PPV. You want to check this out. This is going to take your workouts to a new level. Daily workouts, goal and experience settings, muscle recovery, the ability to connect to all your devices. They have timed intervals, circuits and supersets, equipment selection. This stuff has helped me out a lot as I'm trying to get in the best shape of my life. And the thing I like about it, when I travel, it is so useful. So maybe you have weights one day, you have bands the next, and maybe the next day you don't have any equipment. You can only do body weight exercises. Fitbod is going to cater your workout to that, and it's going to cater your workouts based on how fresh your muscles are. You can ask a trainer, you can use video demonstrations and exercise instructions. If you don't know what you're doing, you need to stop guessing and start working. And at fitbod.me/PPV, you can redeem your 25% off code, and you can download to try it now for free. Fitbod, that's fitbod.me/PPV. Over 150,000 five-star reviews and over 5 million downloads. Fitbod.me/PPV.
Man, had to get that ad break in there just to like get my Wusan calmed down because man, I was kind of hyped. Like, yo,
Straight up.
we just had DNA on our podcast. Like,
People don't understand, man. DNA is a legendary. We're not just saying that. This guy's a legendary battle rapper, and like we talked to him.
Yeah, man. Again, appreciate him coming out. Again, fitbod.me/Grapsody. Wherever you are in your fitness journey, get the most out of your work with Fitbod. I know you want to jump into some super chats. You want to hop into a topic first?
Yeah. Let's hop into a topic because we haven't talked too much wrestling. We got super into that hip hop stuff, and I'm sure you guys are here to hear us talk about a little bit of wrestling this week. So yeah, let's get into something.
I guess like the biggest news of the week is NXT is moving to CW.
What?
That's out of nowhere. A lot to take in from this. Of course, the news dropped at first from PW Insider as a report, and then WWE and CW dropped a formal announcement that, yes, they will be moving next year. I believe it's in October to CW. I think this is a good move for NXT off bat. Like, I think NXT never really felt like a cable product to me, and it could be that I'm used to watching it on the network, and then I just feel like the move to USA never quite felt like it fit. So I feel like this is good for them, and I think that they're going to be in more houses because of CW, because it's a broadcast channel as opposed to cable. So I think this is good for them.
Yeah, with these backstage segments and skits, I think it fits perfectly being on CW, right? Isn't it like a great, perfect crossover between the stuff with Hanley Slapovich and some of these names that they have on
Hanley
NXT,
yo. Hanley Slapovich is
some
crazy.
of these names sound like they were from One Tree Hill, so them being on CW like hits super hard for me. No, I just honestly think it's a good change of kind of change of scenery. It'll add like a fresh coat of paint to NXT. It's a while away too, so they can establish a bunch of things. But yeah, it's interesting. I kind of feel how you feel, Phil, when the NXT was on the network. Like that was one of the best shows in wrestling. The 2016, like all that stuff was like crazy. And when they transitioned to USA, it never felt right to me. And I was always like, it still doesn't feel right them being on there. And I think just them being on CW is going to add some kind of different fire to it that I'm pretty excited about. And it feels like they've had a lot of momentum. I mean, they switched it. They started doing these live events. They had a show in Bakersfield randomly for some reason. And the energy over there is pretty hot. They had a good rating this week. Like, I think everything about NXT is trending up. So them making this move is really dope. And as far as like people get into like what about home? Somebody was like, they're in less homes or more homes or blah, blah, blah. It's like the way that people watch this stuff, they're going to watch it no matter what. And I think probably, I would say more people probably watch it on CW for some reason. I don't know why. It just feels like they will. They're definitely going to be the most popular show on CW, like far away, if we're talking about ratings.
Yeah, according to Ari Emanuel on the conference call, he said that the deal represents a 70% increase in the average annual value of the previous contract as well. So I mean, the rights, rights went up in value. That's good for them. I don't know. I mean, other than that, it does sound weird to think about like CW and wrestling. But yeah, I mean, like when you think of what CW used to be, it used to be WW, the WB, and it definitely used to be kind of like UPN, where it was the Black Network. It had Wayans Brothers and like Sister and all of that.
What's
on
the
there.
Chappelle saying? But I'm the WB. I don't know.
I like chicken.
No, the WB, the Wayans Brothers is like my favorite sitcom of all time. So like, it's synonymous with the. I used to pull up WB to watch the Wayans Brothers. So yeah, they're not that anymore. They definitely transitioned. I'm gonna bring in this Bragav tweet because it kind of connects to super chat. Shout out to Bragav who says, "Happy Grapsody. Regis NWA tweet was hilarious. Look, on the heels of WWE getting this monumental deal here on CW, we were hearing weeks ago, a couple months ago, about NWA Billy Corgan having this big. He said, I have two top 20 networks are interested in NWA. And so recently we heard that CW possibly was going to be one of these networks, Phil. So NWA has a show last week, a week or 2 weeks ago, and they do a spot. I don't even think we talked about it on this show.
We didn't.
Because why would we?
We didn't talk about it.
They was wilding on their show. Like, why are you doing this in 2023? Nobody, we were all like, sometimes we have like these viral, we're going to dunk on people moments where I'm like, why are we doing this? But this time it's like, this is warranted, dude. Why are y'all, what is this? This is stupid. So they did this wild thing where they did drugs on their show. And so apparently that's how they lost this CW deal and got the WWE the CW deal. Phil, how? I know how we got here, but what?
Fumbling the bag over a possibly fake cocaine spot on your pay-per-view.
What if it's real? I hope it's fake.
I don't even know how to get into it. What if it's real? But we'll just stay at it possibly being a fake cocaine spot on your pay-per-view. And I mean that spot looked crazy. Like
that's like, just crazy. Man.
Standing around a table doing coke just sounds crazy in wrestling in 2023. This definitely feels like when keeping it real goes wrong. Like sometimes, man, you ain't gotta have to.
We don't got to, man. Like
you gotta do that.
There's
man.
viral moments. There's different ways we could have been viral. I know what y'all are aiming for. Stupid what y'all are aiming for. That's it.
Yeah, but it definitely produced some great Twitter content. People making all of their jokes about NWA. We've seen Nick Aldis get his joke off as well with his IG post where he put the Dokken Into the Fire record over the announcement, which of course, if people don't remember, Into the Fire used to be the theme song for NWA Power. So just in case you were wondering if Aldis felt a way about NWA after he left there, might feel away. I don't know.
In case you're wondering if all this was petty, confirmed.
I feel away. But yeah, some of this stuff was really, really funny. I don't know, man. Of course, this is more lucrative for WWE to move to CW. Yeah, I do think NWA, the thing that they are missing is a television deal, the thing to get them in front of more audiences. And so this does suck for them. But we also,
to say the least.
We also got the report that Tony got Tony possibly would have moved Ring of Honor there because he got a proposal to move there. Of course, we don't know how how structured it was or how real this was. It seems like somebody tried to approach him at a show about it. But so yeah, it seems like CW was trying to get wrestling on their channel in some way because they reached out to more than one person.
Which is wild to think about. Well, and what I think WoW was on there. Women's Wrestling was on there for a while too.
Yeah, I believe it's still on there. Isn't it? Did it move to CBS or is it still there?
If they're still on there, that's kind of wild. That them having two different wrestling programs.
Yeah,
I have to look that up. I have to look into that.
But it just goes to show that what's going on with other stations like TNT and TBS, where they just want cheap content and they just want like
Yep.
content that runs year round. Um, that worked for the company. So it seems like CW was trying to get wrestling there some kind of way, whether it be working with ROH or WWE or NWA. WWE, of course, wins again, as my guy likes to say, nobody outpieces the Hut. They,
Never. Yeah,
they
it looks like the like if you I googled WoW on CW and they're like, yeah, come watch WoW on CW. I don't know if
That's what I
things are
thought.
going to change when WWE gets there, but that's like another kind of interesting element. But yeah, you can't out Pizza the Hut. But it seems like the NWA couldn't possibly out Pizza the Hut. They fucked it up.
I don't know if they did get NWA that meant that they were not going to still try to work with
If
WWE.
WWE's gonna come, bro, we're going to get them.
Yeah, maybe there was a world where both could have ended up on CW. I don't know, but just the fact that all of this happened, and once again, Billy Corgan is getting dunked on. We got the House of Wrestling report this week as well of people being frustrated with his leadership. I don't know how true that is, but not a great week for NWA.
Tough, a bunch of tough ones, but it's like Bergov said, I said it. I kind of knew this was gonna happen. There's these moves that you just hear about these things, how they're moving out there, and you're like, I don't know. And then like you see it, like when Tyrus was the champion, and he was like, "This is us. We want our champion to represent, and you guys are done with your spots and stuff. We do this," and you're like, I don't know. That's probably not the best idea. And then this is huge. This is way huger than that. Like this possibly could have taken NWA to another level, and they fumbled the bag. This is different. This is like, all right, you was wilding with Tyrus, but now you're like business, bro. Like we got to talk about something else.
Yeah, man, definitely feels like Into the Fire for sure, man.
The
We're definitely into the fire.
But man, I saw like a charity came. They're like doing some things. Like if you get off the bullshit, you just like zoom in on what NWA is doing. They're making some pretty cool moves over there. Nothing like earth shattering, but like some progression. But then like also not at all.
Yeah, this could have been a good move for them. Hopefully they I don't know what the status is with it, but hopefully they do get some other kind of TV deal. Because, of course, don't want anybody like the wrestlers and the people that work for NWA to have hardships because this went under. Unfortunate. I don't know.
Yeah, Phil, I think the wildest thing though is like talking about all this, all these different channels with wrestling on them. You get wrestling on USA, TNT, CW. Like you can get wrestling on a multitude of different channels at this point, and people are getting big money. They're like, these companies are like, I want to invest in wrestling. Here's a big giant bag, and it's like, maybe wrestling is in a boom period. It's not going to be 20 million people watching at the same time, but like, yo, it's hot out here for them.
Yeah, but I just think it goes to show that a lot of these networks want cheap content. They want content that runs year round, and it's just different. Then on top of that,
nothing better than wrestling.
Yeah, then on top of that, you've got streaming for some of these networks as well, and that gives you something to add to your streaming library. I don't know how that works because, of course, like WWE has the deal with Hulu, and so their content goes to Hulu, but it also goes to Peacock eventually.
Right? How is that gonna work?
So I don't know if that means NXT will be on CW's app or not, but you got to imagine. And
Hulu just announced this week that they're gonna merge Disney and Hulu together. I'm sure that's gonna play a role too in this. Woo, there's a lot of moves being laid, a lot of money being laid out there. But yo, I'm super excited about it. You gonna watch NXT CW?
Based on some of the stuff I watched this week, I still have the same complaint about NXT. I think the wrestling stuff is good, but the stuff in between the wrestling is just not for me, man. Some of that
Alexis King.
Yo, I don't know what Lexi King did to some of y'all, man. But they was cooking that man on the timeline, man. I mean, they they were clearing this guy on the timeline. I don't know what was going on at one point, but I seen that video of him trying to put them glasses in his pocket like 40 times, bro.
No, seriously, I was scrolling my time like, man, they are taking this guy to the woodshed.
they were definitely getting Lex up out of here. Because look, the thing that I really am enjoying about NXT is the mellow and trick stuff, and so that stuff was going well. And then you add this guy, and it's like, oh no, man, I don't need.
And it's funny because Trick and Mello gave up the energy that we all felt like, what are you doing here, dude? Like, we're talking.
Yeah, nah, it definitely wasn't for me. Like seeing some of the other backstage stuff, like the Tony D'Angelo stuff with Chase U, I was watching. I was just like, this is just not for me, bro.
That was
that
one felt. That's CW, Phil. Just like I told you, the crossover is happening, big dog. That's what they be giving it up like over there.
It
felt like somebody was gonna give it up after that, but you know what I'm talking about. It's crazy.
Yeah, some of that OTM stuff, I'm just like, yo, this is just not for me, man. But
Phil,
the wrestling is still good. But it's just
why is Reggie? Why are they giving it up like that? Like Reggie's don't as a Reggie.
Reggie's backstory is crazy. Have you actually
crazy?
Have you looked into his backstory? His backstory is crazy, and the fact that they decided to bring this to the screen, and then people are like, "Nah, we don't believe you, Reggie." Like, no, Reggie was outside, bro.
Yeah, see just the way that you described it there is like all the issues I had from it. Like he's trying to get away from that life. I don't want to relive it again when I got to go to work. Like I used to really do that. I don't want to fake act like I really do that. As like, you know. Gang like niggas that was in that hip hop rappers tell it all the time. Like I don't want to go back to that life, and like you presenting me as that again just seems wild to me.
I'm turning it into
especially on like NXT. Like these people are gonna, you know what they're gonna think.
Yeah, I'm trying to be as charitable as possible with this OTM stuff. Again, it's just not for me, man.
They think it's for you. That's the funniest part.
They definitely think that I am the key demographic for it, and I am not. Boy, let me tell you, anybody that is in the power to be NXT, Sean, whoever. This is not for me, bro. I am not in the key demographic, bro. I don't want it.
Sean,
Keep it, bro. I don't want it.
I gotta talk directly to Shawn Michaels, yo, HBK, bro.
Keep it, man. That's
the funniest part, though, Phil. They think it's for us.
They definitely think
these Grapsody niggas are gonna love.
They definitely think it is for us, and bro. I'm good.
I'm okay. I don't want that.
Like I said, the mellow and trick stuff is good though. Just
yes.
I don't know if this is like some grand thing that none of you guys have discovered. Hey, but black people are regular people. You can just treat them like regular people. They just have regular characters. You ain't gotta create these fake street guys.
We're from the streets, bro. I shot dice before this podcast started because that's what it's like. It's hard out here. It's rough. I'm like, no, it doesn't have to be. And like, again, like I'm not a gangbanger, never been around, but like somebody that's been around adjacent, I don't even want to see it on my wrestling program. I'm trying to get away from that. It's like that outside. I don't want to hear about niggas shooting dice and shooting niggas and getting money. Like, that's okay. That's real life. Like sometimes it's too real for me.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Just not for me, man. But I of course, every time I've seen Reggie, I interviewed Reggie at one point at one of the press junkets.
You saying that? I'm like, you see, I'm right now. Like, what you mean? You ain't never interviewed me.
Other Reggie. He seems like a nice guy, and so I get it. You're trying to, work a character, work an angle that gets you on television. I get how these things go. It's nothing against him. I just don't really care for it. And even like the stuff that they're doing with like Brawling Brutes like did their vignette that's also a part of their feud. I'm just like, what is this? What am I watching, man?
They're trying to get everybody on their home turf, on their streets. I'm like,
why do you guys keep doing it? Why do you guys keep doing this turf war thing with black characters? You tried to do the same thing with Hit Row, where you had Hit Row going up against the Mexicans. I don't. Why are we doing this, bro? Like, just I don't want it. I'm good on it. But yeah, I mean, hopefully this is good for NXT. I think the other thing that's great is that I'm sure part of the reason that the value of it went up is that, they kind of juked the numbers. They brought Becky in. Becky started doing numbers, man. They started moving the needle again. They got the optic of beating AEW in the ratings that night. And so I'm sure that helped them raise the value.
the last few weeks of negotiation probably looked hot for
Yeah.
them. They're like, look at these numbers. Look at these numbers. We beat this. We did this. They're probably like, oh yeah, come right over, bro. We want all that.
Yeah, so I look. This is good for them, and this is good for wrestlers that are there. Hopefully, this means raise in pay for those wrestlers. Hopefully,
Yes.
this trickles down to them. Can't say that I'm holding my breath for that because again, we know how this things work in business. But hopefully, this is beneficial to wrestlers that are there. Hopefully, it gets them more exposure and the pay that they deserve.
Do you think with the CW move that they kind of ramp up what they've been doing recently with like having more main roster established people, or do you think they try to establish the own NXT identity when they get over there?
I kind of feel like this was a part of trying to raise the value and trying to get leverage for a new contract because
Makes sense.
the timing of it is very interesting. The fact that they were doing all of this around negotiations and then all of a sudden they announced the deal. I kind of feel like bringing those main roster people on was mostly for negotiations.
Okay, that makes sense.
I could be wrong, but I mean,
thinking about it though, the timelines really do line up. I'm like, let's have
Yeah.
Becky as she comes in, she's the champ and she's the main event and she's all this, and we have all these main roster stars, and we so happily to run into this AEW Tuesday title thing, and like all the momentum just happen to keep going into to their side. So yeah, I could see it like. So you think they will kind of establish their own identity when they
Yeah,
we'll
I
get
think-
more of like what NXT is supposed to be, not like the main roster thing.
I think they kind of have to. I can see it being still presented as kind of a third brand, but I don't think we're going to see like this flood of main roster people being there every week like we've just seen recently. I think part of this is, to get negotiations and to get the
Right.
contract they wanted. And it worked. So yeah.
It worked. Wonder what happened. So SmackDown has a new home. CW has a new home. Raw does not have a new home yet.
Yes, that is the other report that came out of this, that they're still trying to negotiate a rights deal with Raw. Raw could possibly be moving off of Monday,
Which is just
which
that
sounds
don't
crazy.
right. Since 1993, 30 years, brother. It's been called Monday Night Raw. That would just sound weird calling it anything other than that.
Yeah, I think it's that with the TKO merger, I think that they see that they're always going to have NFL as a competition,
Oh,
and they're trying to
yeah.
move off of Monday so they don't have to keep competing with football every year.
Makes sense. Makes
Um,
sense.
But I just can't imagine Monday without wrestling. It sounds weird. I mean, it's one thing to think of it not on USA, because Raw has been on USA since as long as I've been watching wrestling. But just to think of it not being on Monday sounds crazy.
No wrestling on Monday is we can't like that's my entire life. Wrestling has been on Mondays. It's just a staple of. It's the beginning of the week, like a new wrestling
Yeah.
show. That's gonna seem so weird. And for what used to be their flagship, it feels like SmackDown's now the leader of WWE entertainment. And Raw, like you said, you've said a couple of times, Raw is actually the better show a lot of weeks.
It
So
is.
it's interesting that it's in this position right now.
Yeah, I thought definitely Raw was the better show. We got a big title match this week with Sammy. I thought Sammy and Seth killed it in the main event. I thought the build for the War Games match afterwards was very good as well.
War Games.
Yeah, we got Pierce coming out and yelling War Games. Yeah, man, I thought Raw was good this week. I thought the way they've introduced the Creeds on Raw has also been good. Of course, Gunther is killing it on Raw.
Shout out to the Creeds.
I think Raw's a better show, man.
So that's just like how they haven't got a deal yet, but maybe they're gonna get a pretty big deal. I didn't think when you were saying that about the NFL, I was like, yeah, it's kind of interesting that after all these years they're still on Mondays, because like they've been getting destroyed for the entire run of their existence with Monday Night Football. So like, I mean, if I'm trying to make top dollar, I'm moving them off of there, because they do actually do better ratings when football's not on. So like if we can consistently get that all the time, why wouldn't we?
Yeah, where are you going to move it, though? You're not going to move it to Tuesday because that's when NXT is. You're going to move it and try and compete on Wednesdays? Like, I don't know.
And Thursday is also football.
Yeah.
And then you can't compete with SmackDown on Fridays.
Wednesday, maybe. That sounds all bad to me. Raw going head to head with Dynamite every week sounds like hell. I do not want that.
That sounds terrible. Like people probably are like, oh, no, I don't want when
Wednesday
Wednesday
Night
Night
Wars
War.
are back.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
No way. But I mean, realistically, where do they go with that scenario?
It's gonna be interesting to see. Of course, we also got that report this week that those guys backstage are feeling pretty good about how NXT won the ratings war on Title Tuesday, and they think that NXT is going to consistently outdraw Dynamite once they make the move to CW. No, we shall see. There's no 5 heartbeat line. We shall see.
That's pretty hefty. I mean, good shot. What else? What are they supposed to say? Like, oh no, we're gonna do okay. Like, no, we about to cook these niggas every week. Watch it.
Absolutely. But yeah, I don't think it's a bad thing. I saw some people that were trying to spin this and make it seem like this is bad. I think it's good for NXT.
How could it possibly be bad?
I think. I mean, even if you just look on the surface, like a 70% raise in value, man. That's pretty good. Like that, if you're telling me that this show that went from being a network exclusive now has value to networks, that's pretty good.
Any show that adds value to a network, we're talking different stuff, and like
Yeah.
our little Twitter numbers aren't the same as a network
No.
being like, we want you to come and lead our network.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
With your third brand.
That's the other thing. I keep having to tell people, like, Twitter isn't a good barometer for what's going on in the world. It's such a small part of the audience, man. Like what you think on Twitter is just not it's not what's really the conversation among other people, because there's so many people that don't pay attention to any of that stuff.
And I just saw it in sight. People are still attacking me on my Twitter because last night I went to the AEW Rampage and Collision taping, and they're playing a video at the beginning. So, like, first, I've been to wrestling shows for the last probably 10 years, and before the show, people woo. But let's establish, none of those people are wooing because they want Ric Flair there. People woo at the beginning of wrestling shows because they want somebody to participate with them. They want to sound cool. Like, it's just a wrestling. It goes with the wrestling shows. Those people aren't saying, Phil, we want Ric Flair. We want Ric Flair. That's not what wooing at the beginning of a wrestling show is. Yesterday, though, they played a video, blah, blah, blah. I think they were talking about World's End or some Ric Flair, and people cheered and wooed. It wasn't like when they woo at the beginning. It was like people were like, we're excited to see Ric Flair. And I was like, and it was a lot of people. We're in Oakland. Like, it wasn't like one person was like, I love Ric Flair. It was like everybody was like, Ric Flair, we love him, woo! Like it, and it continued to happen. And I was like, that's crowd, super interesting, man, because Twitter told me this is the worst idea they've ever had. And for I wasn't super excited about it, but there are a legion of fans, Phil, that don't feel that way. They see Ric Flair, the Nature Boy, the nigga that be chopping and putting people in the figure 4. That's all that they see,
No, Ric Flair is one of the most famous wrestlers in the world. And, some people that don't pay attention to any of the internet discourse and don't know about all the allegations, like, you also got to realize Dark Side of the Ring is inside, like, the hardcore wrestling bubble. A lot of casual fans don't know, and even if they know about the allegations, to them, he's still Ric Flair. Like, Flair. He's still, I've never felt like he's not still popular among some fans, especially casual fans. Casual fans like Ric Flair, man.
They do.
And they're going to still be excited to see him at shows, like, regardless of what it is. So,
I don't know how many times I've heard, I can't wait till Ric Flair and Jay Lethal, Black Machismo square off. And I'm like, people don't like, a lot of the narrative is people don't like either one of these guys, but there are a legion of fans that would love to see that interaction.
On internet wrestling.
On the internet, yeah.
It's just different. But to your point about the wooing, I do think it's similar to what DNA said. There are people that come to these shows that just want to make noise and they just want to do things because they're casual fans. Like, they don't really care about Ric Flair coming out there and being a consistent part of the show. I'm here in the arena. Ric Flair is here, so I want to make noise because Ric Flair is here. And I think it's the same way with people that are excited to see him at shows. It's like, yo, I'm getting to go to shows and see Ric Flair. Like, even when you think about it this way, how many people that are going to these AEW shows maybe never saw Ric Flair in person, and this is their first chance to see him.
Them. Yeah, a lot.
And so they're just looking at it like, nah, it's Ric Flair. I'm excited to see Ric Flair. And which is fine. I'm not knocking it. I personally don't need to see Ric Flair.
I'm okay.
So, And I've always said that my opinion of them signing him and bringing him in is just my opinion. I
That's
don't
it.
need to see him, but I of course don't speak for everyone.
There's a bunch of wrestlers that I'm like, I don't want to see that, but the whole company and wrestling in general ain't just for me. Like, there's a whole bunch of people that want to see stuff that I don't want to see, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah, casual wrestling fans are just different. Like their viewing habits and what they want to see is just different.
Yeah, it was a pretty interesting show though. I sat behind some young Latino fans, and they were hyped for Commander and Vikingo, and it was just dope to see. Like, I mean, it's California, so we love our Mexicans and our lucha libre, and so every time there's lucha, and there's also they taped I don't know if it's not saying what the match was, Andrade versus Daniel Garcia for Collision tonight that banged, and like to see Mexican wrestlers in California is always great, but like seeing their interactions to Vikingo and Commander doing flips and shit is like, man, I love pro wrestling.
Yeah, nah.
So great.
Seeing luchadors out on the west side is just totally different. That's why when Impact comes here and they have the lucha wrestlers, man,
they ramp it up. Impact is like, we got a whole lucha show for you.
I mean, even like seeing the Lucha Bros win it all out and just how loud that audience was, because it's a big Latina fan base here, man.
Yeah, that's funny. There's so many parallels between Oakland and Chicago. Like before we were friends and knew about this, I knew, but like there's even more. Like I didn't know there was such a huge Latino population there. Like it's almost kind of when I was in Chicago, I like really felt vibes of being at home. It's like, it's crazy. Let's get into a few super chats before we move forward. Gaming from Canada says, thought I'd show love, have a great pod, and everyone have a good day. Thanks, Gaming from Canada. Appreciate that. Van Twinblade, our friend, says, in 8 days, Tootie Lynn will be the new Alpha 1 Gravity champ. She will pin Rohit for the second time. Last time was a Midwest Territory belt match.
Yeah, Alpha 1 is back. That is definitely one of those big news that came. That's some of the big news that came out.
Be black.
Ethan Page. I don't know why we want to put S's on the end of things, man. I don't know why we want to do that. It's already an S on the end of news.
It's already an S. So I
don't know why we want to do that.
You are so funny. I'm going to Sonics. I'm like, I don't think there's an S on
There's no S on the end of it, man. Joe Buttons. His name is Joe Button.
It's not Joe Buttons.
His name is Joe Button.
Shout out to Van Twinblade. Shout out to Glory Pro. Check out Glory Pro Ascend. They have a weekly show. They broadcast a lot of it on Twitter and on their YouTube page. So check that out. Bragrav with another super chat. Shout out to Bragrav says, I was just watching the Punk return in 2021 and it made me feel all nostalgic. It's so sad how it all fell apart within 2 years. I wish things were better. Man, that first dance, you were there. That is like in wrestling history as like one of the best. Everything about it was just like perfect, man. Like I can't believe we went from that to wherever we are now.
Yeah, I just seen a clip from his Collision, the premiere Collision and his Collision promo, and I was just like, man, we were just there. I was just there. This was just 3 months ago.
That was 3 months ago.
It was just 3 months ago.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
Sorry, wait, that wasn't 3 months ago. That was in June, wasn't it?
Was it?
It was in June.
When did it premiere? It premiered in June?
Yep.
It's still not that long ago.
I don't know why. I'm thinking August. That wasn't 3 months ago. It was in June. But still, that wasn't that long ago. But yeah, nah. I mean, you still got the memories. You can still go look up the clips. You can still go find this stuff. I don't know. And I don't think this guy's done with wrestling. Just a hunch. I don't think that means he'll be here in 2 weeks for Survivor Series, but
he sure is playing into it.
He's getting his trolling in, and people keep falling for it. It's very, very funny.
Every time. It's so easy. He could put a kissy emoji on a post, and we're out of here. That confirms it. He'll be there.
Yeah, the devil IG post he put out there, people were running with that too, man. He's having fun, man.
It's fun. I like it.
It's funny.
Will Chisholm says, poor Bailey. I don't know. They were going to put the bullet in her after. I know they were going to put the bullet in her after War Games. The faction looks crazy, though. Yeah, they looked great as a faction together. Like seeing them on screen, I'm like, this faction's badass.
Yeah, that's stacked. I don't know if you want to get into SmackDown
Yeah, let's get
off of
into
the
a little
backs
bit
of
of it.
that. But yeah, they look stacked, man. The story going into this is Damage Control. We did not know what it would look like coming out of Crown Jewel because, of course, Kyrie is back. Kyrie is now teaming with EO again.
Mm-hmm.
And so, Kyrie and Bailey have history from Bailey and Sasha's 2-woman power trip. And so we didn't know if it would be all good for them. But, Kyrie came out and said, I forgive you. I'm here. I'm a part of Damage Control. I don't believe you, Kyrie.
Not at
I'm
all.
sorry.
I didn't believe it for 1 second.
I seen that evil, vengeful look in your face when you first showed up at Crown Jewel, and I seen how you guys didn't even acknowledge Bailey at first, man. Y'all were hugging it up. I don't believe you, Kyrie. But we got the match at the end of SmackDown last night. It was Damage Control up against the team of Bianca, Charlotte Flair, and Asuka. And I was sitting watching Asuka the entire time, and I was like, Asuka, you don't want to be over there. And
yeah,
then,
you want to be over there.
and so, of course, we got our confirmation of that when Bianca tried to tag her in, and she did the old whoop.
Yep.
I don't want that. Spit some mist in her face, got her up out of here, and then they proceed to beat her down NWO style.
I don't want that. It's hella funny.
Great stuff. I thought that this was a great angle to end SmackDown on. I thought this was a great way to build to what I'm assuming is the women's War Games match.
Look at that. Last week I asked if we could get to a women's War Games match, and we didn't know. And look, we're almost there.
Yeah, I think we've got a good heel team and Damage Control with the addition of Kyrie and Asuka. They look great together, the 5 of them. I assume that Dakota's not ready to wrestle, so I'm assuming it's going to be the 4 members against Bianca, Charlotte, seems like Shotzi at this point, and whoever the last member will be. I think that's a good build so far. I thought this did a good job of getting me excited. Are you kidding me? Some of my faves are together. I've been waiting. I was sitting watching it the whole time, like get the cat excited, man. And seeing EO and Kyrie and Asuka in the middle of the ring hugging it out and saying, "Come on, Bailey, come on in." And it's just like they're gonna turn on you, buddy.
You're out of
It's
here,
coming, man.
Yo, they
feel
played
bad.
the long game with Damage Control because remember for a bit there, I was like, I don't know about Damage Control, man. They were just like on every single program, and like people were kind of souring on them. But now everything is paid off. I feel with what they got now, like the crew that they got now, how they look, how they wrestle.
Yeah.
The vibe of it is like, okay, finally we got to where the full potential of this team.
Yeah, I very much feel like Bailey is going to be the odd woman out. I don't know if you noticed this as well, but it seemed like Dakota was in because of course Dakota and EO was like, yeah, we called Kyrie, and I was just like, we didn't include Bailey in that phone call. Because
look, even how they walked out together, like Bailey was first, and then the rest of them were. I mean.
Yeah, if you know, before Dakota Kai came to WWE, of course, she wrestled in Stardom at one point. So there is a Japanese connection there.
Damn, Bailey. They can't do my girl Bailey like this, though, man.
It's not looking good for Bailey.
She's always the odd woman out.
It's not looking good for Bailey. Now, of course, last night it looked like all good. They were doing a hands up. Everybody's excited to be here.
Yeah, I bet.
But I don't think that this is a long-term thing for
We've
Bailey.
seen this before. This is Wrestling 101. You're out of there, Bailey. You better get your exit plan get together. Get you some other friends that can help with this because it's going to be some bad times for this. But yeah, no, I'm excited about this. That crew is going to be awesome. The Women's War Games match is going to be super dope. I think they're building up to some really cool stuff. I hope we can move on because like they keep doing the same Raw matches with the men's. I'm like, you guys have been doing this for 5 years. I hope that War Games really is all right, we're done here. We're moving on to the next stuff.
Yeah. But yeah, I agree. I think that this is a good way to build up to a War Games match. I think this is a good way to refresh Damage Control because they needed it. Who do you think is going to be the 4th member on the babyface side?
Ooh. I was trying to think with the storyline stuff. So you got Bianca, Charlotte, possibly Shotzi.
You think it's going to be Jade?
It shouldn't be. That's what I thought initially, but I don't think it should be.
I kind of think it's going to be Jade.
You think so?
Yeah. I kind of feel like that makes a lot of sense for them. That makes a lot of sense for her debut as well. because you can put her in a spot where she doesn't, because now you're on
She's
the
protected.
team. You're on a team with 4 other wrestlers, and you can kind of disguise some things, and I can see her being the 4th member. It does sound crazy to think like her first match is going to be like this big hardcore stipulation match, but we know how WWE War Games matches are. They're not going to be that hardcore.
She'll be
extensive.
fine.
So, and also when you think about like what she wanted to do and coming over and being a part of like a star-studded match like this and being in there with like the big stars and being in a style of match that she's never done with WWE, I think it makes a lot of sense for it to be her.
It does kind of make a lot of sense. And the aesthetics of it, I think, is like, oh, yeah, no, this is actually what she came over to do. She's in this big match with all the biggest stars of the women's division and all this. Becky is still injured?
I don't think Becky's injured, is she?
Well, didn't she? What is the last thing that she had?
Right after NXT title match?
Yeah.
I don't think she's injured. I could see it being Becky as well. Becky makes a lot of sense because she has history with the rest of those women.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I mean, it's big WWE match. Who else to, it's the big star. Put the man in there.
Yeah, Becky was in the War Games match last year as well. So it makes sense. She was also on the babyface team last year. So maybe. I don't know. But yeah, I'm definitely more excited for the War Games match than I was coming in. I wasn't sure if they were going to do a women's War Games match.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely glad they are going to pull the trigger on that. So yeah, off to the races. I'm in to see where the storyline goes.
Hey, Survivor Series is stacking up, brother. At the end of that, y'all could have a pretty wild night out there if your homeboy shows up.
Yeah, I will be at Survivor Series, so hopefully it's a good show. But I do
you going to the press conference?
Maybe they having one.
Match of the year, Phil. Match of the year. That's all I want you to say if you go in.
Yeah. Hey Bailey, have you tried Hero shit? Like, what are your thoughts on on mild sauce, man? That's gonna be my question.
I could really hear that being said in there. Oh man, about to be silly. Anything else from SmackDown that you liked? I saw the they paid off the Santos Escobar and Rey Mysterios. He finally is out of the LWO. It seems Carlito came in as the ops and was like, "Hey, nah." Hey.
Carlito came in hating hard on my man. He was like, "Get this! You see what this guy did? Get him the fuck out of here!"
He said, "No, Ray. I see what you're celebrating. I feel you, but nah, homeboy. Nah, I don't play that. Run the tape."
He came in there with his DNA flow, like, "Nah, bro, get him the fuck out of here, bro." I seen what he was doing, man.
And Santos was like, "Wait, hold up, wait a second, man. Like, what's going on here? Like, I didn't know that I was being watched back here. I thought I was doing my thing." Paid it off, beat up Rey Mysterio. Listen, when it was happening, Phil, I talked about it maybe last week on this podcast. I'm tired of seeing Rey Mysterio get turned on. He's just trying to be the greatest cruiserweight wrestler of all time, impart his wisdom, show you the 619, and every single time they get him behind his back. What does he do to deserve this, Phil?
Yeah, I mean, look, it does have a very similar build. I mean, even when he did the spot on the stairs, I immediately thought of the Seth feud where he did the eye thing on the stairs as well. I'm like, why does this keep happening to you, man? But yeah, I'm like, listen, I'm here for it because again, Santos is a heel. I think that's the move, buddy. I immediately tweeted, "Escobar season has begun. We are back, man." I got a few references off like that when somebody was like, "Nah, Kyrie's back. Bring back the glutes." I was like, "Yes, unleash the flutes on him, Guru. We are back, baby. Kabuki Warriors forever, man."
2 in a row. That's hard. I'm still saying the Escobar season. Listen, I know that it's one of the most beloved wrestling promo packages in history. But The Miz fucked up Hate Me Now. That could have been any other wrestler in the world, and I would share it every day. But for it to be that with The Miz attached to it, I hate it.
I don't know if this is a hot take, but I'm not a big fan of that song. I'm not a big fan of Hate Me Now.
I mean, it's like if we're choosing the Nas songs, like it's way down there. But I mean, like kind of the sound and what it represents.
Yeah, I mean, for that time period, but I wasn't.
But still, not The Miz, man.
Yeah, nah, we didn't need Miz to get to Hate Me Down. And yeah, that was kind of crazy, but
I feel you. Honestly, when I listened to that album, I sometimes skip hate me now for keeping it at 1,000.
Which album is that on? Is that Nostradamus?
I think that's on I Am. Is it I Am or Nostradamus?
I think it's on Nostradamus.
No, I think it's on I Am.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it came out in 99. Remember that controversy when they shot the video and then Puff ran up and then like they were supposed to show the video and they were like, yo, we don't know if we should show this. Puff is really mad. And that was a wild time. But yeah, Santos Escobar, I think, is like the future of this business. Like, I don't think they understand what they got. And I'm glad that they're shifting to heel because smiling Santos Escobar didn't really hit that hard for me.
I'm ready to get back to it. Everybody in the chat is saying it is on I Am. So
I Am. Yeah.
Nostradamus is Nostradamus, of course, and Oh Me. Terrible album. Hate that album.
When You Owe Me came out, woo,
Trash,
they was getting Nas all the way out of here.
Trash. And I've seen people to this day defend Oh Me and go, nah, it was going off in the club. It was, but
listen,
I couldn't
Phil,
stand Oh Me.
I went to, funny enough, they keep talking about this woman, Nas and Lauryn Hill. I went to their show a couple of years ago. Funny they say that. Lauryn Hill was right on time. She was not late. So everybody talks about that. Like, when I saw Lauryn Hill, she came and did her set and left, and there was no time in between. But it was a lot of course, it's a Lauryn Hill concert. A lot of fine aunties out there. When You Owe Me went off, hey, boom, it was loud.
Boom, boom, whoop.
It was
boom,
loud.
Boom, boom.
Them aunties was going crazy.
Say what's your price? What a trash record. I'm sorry, man. I hate that. Record is so trash, man.
Shackles on your feet.
Nah, I hate Omi, man. I'm sure there gonna be people in the chat that listen that like, nah, Omi is a bop. Like, nah, bro, I hate that record, bro.
It's just like we talked about with Sunshine. It's like these are the greatest rappers of all time, and when you compare them to these records are trash.
Yeah, couldn't stand Omi.
You think of like One Mic and I Gave You Power and all this stuff, and then like also You Owe Me, and you're like, what was you doing,
bro? Nah, man.
It's
Genuine.
like when we can blatantly see you trying to cross over or make one of those hits. We're like, I can see right through this, dude. This is nasty.
Nah, you know, you owe Nas, you owe me. Nah, bro, get out of here, Genuine.
Genuine wasn't getting this shit off though.
Genuine dancing in the video. What a corny video and record, bro.
You made Illmatic, dude. What are we doing here? Nobody was like Nas. And that's the issue is everybody was like, yes, do it. You'll make $1 gazillion. But it's like, he doesn't need to do this at this point, man. That's why Hov was getting him out of here. Like, he was giving everybody fuel. And then Hov was like, oh, this nigga's whack. Luckily, then Stillmatic happened. So, like, things changed. So
yeah, not a big fan of that record. Not Timbaland's best, not Genuine's best. Definitely not Nas' best.
They could have all done something better, but you know, when you're trying to get some coochie, like you got to have one of them records. Nah. That's what it is, Phil. When he was going to a shows and it was filled with dusty hip hop heads, and he was like, "I gotta get something for the ladies."
Nah, bro. You owe Nas, you owe Timbaland, you owe me.
Look, I'm just saying, as somebody who went to a dusty hip hop head show the other night, like. I get it, man. Like,
he was tired of making scaring the hoes music. He was like,
yeah. Let's not scare him, man. Let's maybe invite him and let him dance because scaring the hoes is like gets old after a while. I've been to a lot of hip hop shows where there's zero women. That's like people don't understand like the way that things have progressed. Yeah. I used to go to shows in the early 2000s. There's maybe like one of the rappers' girlfriends, but like that isn't even like that's one woman in the whole building. Like hip hop has changed a lot. So I understand records like You Owe Me because sometimes you gotta switch it up, man.
Yeah, Nostradamus is just definitely the weakest album in his catalog for sure.
Definitely.
I don't
know. There's like I never really bumped the N one, the one with the
controversy.
Yeah, I didn't. Not really hit for me.
It's still not as bad as Nostradamus at my point.
Yeah,
Nostradamus is a bad album. It's a bad album. It's okay.
Okay, I'll take it.
I mean, you gotta think of what it came afterwards, man. Like he made 3 albums that was like
fire.
To quote Ho, one was the other was Illmatic. It's just like he made some fire, and I don't agree with him, of course, because it was written as a classic album.
Yes,
but
he was embellishing for sure, but that's what you're supposed to do.
But no, up to that point, those were the two great albums, and then you got the I Am. It's got Nas is like automatically makes one of those records, but then Nostradamus just wasn't it, bro.
Nas is like it's a top 5 Nas record for me for sure. Like if
sure.
I'm making a Nas top 5, like it automatically Nas is like is going in there.
Yeah, top 5 for Nas. One of the better premier beats as well. Like
just history right there, man. They don't make them like they used to. Look at us back to hip hop talk. We did all this and we're right back to it. Let's get into a couple of super chats. Sal Cruz says, y'all catch the shoot promo that Mavericks broadcaster gave James Harden?
Bro, it felt personal. My man was going in.
Everybody's tired of this guy's shit, Phil.
I was sitting there nodding the whole time, like, I mean, he's right. But I was like, what sparked this? Are the Mavs even playing the Clippers tonight? Why are he going in on it like that? What happened?
Are the Mavs even playing the Clippers tonight? Bro was mad though.
Yeah, he was getting his shit off. But I appreciate him.
No, straight up, he's saying what we all feel. Sometimes you
he's right. He's right.
Watching all these clip shows, watching all these clips, seeing what James Harden is still doing, dancing in the club after your team gets beat. Like, bro, get this motherfucker out of here, man. I can't.
Yeah, no. He went through his whole career. Like he definitely he had something to get off his chest on that one.
He got it off. Shout out to him. Van Twinblade says thoughts on NTX Booker, please retire. Thoughts on NXT Booker, please retire. You don't like Booker?
I think that it's what it's supposed to be for that show. It's animated, it's over the top, and I mean, but it fits that show.
I always like Booker T. Oh my goodness, he's one of the greatest of all time.
Yeah, nah, he's all time great. I don't fuck with all of his wrestling takes and some stuff, but it's still Booker, man. This is still one half of one of the greatest tag teams of all time. When you put together all-time lists of greatest black wrestlers, he's high on that list, man. He's a legend. Two-time Hall of Famer, man. Can't take that away.
I think I put him in the top 5 of the legacy edition of the Black Wrestling's 500.
Yeah.
Our friend Luis Polito says, so how about the NWA deal? We got into it a little bit.
How about that?
How about it?
Don't sound like it's a deal no more, bro.
Our friend Eloquent chimes in with another one that says, I need an FTR versus Grizzled Young Vets match in AEW. Yeah, we all need that.
Listen, I'm so happy Grizzled Young Vets are back out here in the streets. I was sitting here watching the promo that Zach Gibson cut on friend of the show, Michael Oku. And I felt bad for Oku because I'm like, dang, get up, bro. Like get up, man. Fight back. Fight back. But at the other end of it, Zach was cooking, bro. He was getting to it in that promo.
And this is exactly what you said you wanted to see from him. He's like, I can't wait till Zach Gibson starts cooking, and then he immediately starts cooking.
Yeah, he's challenging for the British Heavyweight Championship soon at the upcoming Rev Pro show. I think that's a great matchup. Makes all the sense in the world for him to come back to the UK and take everything that he missed out on by over there in NXT. I just hate that it's Oku, man. Like, why you guys talking down on Oku like that? Not too much on it,
man. That's our friend of the show for real. We love Oku. We want to see him have a long, lengthy reign. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that promo was fire.
It was heat though.
Yeah.
Chris says, has AEW burnt out Chicago market?
I'm assuming this is in reference to the sales for the November show that's coming up. I don't know. I just think that you got to announce exciting things for that show. When you're in a market so much, people are looking at, all right, I'm not just going to buy a ticket off the strength. What's happening at that show? What are the matches? What's going on? I think once we get closer to it and we have announcements and they start doing like the promotion in the city, I think that'll change.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's kind of how it is for all these shows. They sometimes book the shows or announce the matches for the shows the week of, or announce the people the week of. So you got to wait around. That's why they get so many last minute ticket sales. Cause like you said, I was thinking about it yesterday. I've been to a lot of shows, AEW shows in Chicago. In California this year. And it's like, you have to, if you expect me to go 10 times to watch you in a year, like you got to give incentive for the people that aren't hardcore freaks like us that are just going to show up with whatever you give us.
That's a packed week of wrestling. I think somebody just said it in our chat as well. But that's the week of Thanksgiving. Then you also got SmackDown at Allstate Arena.
Oh,
you've got Survivor Series on Saturday. So yeah, it's just a lot of wrestling in the city. And when you're looking like, all right, do I want to buy a ticket to see SmackDown? Have I already gone to an AEW show this year? Maybe I'll hit SmackDown instead. Maybe I'll save and just get a Survivor Series ticket as well. Yeah, it's just a tough week to try and sell. And then on top of that, like I said, it's not 2 or 3 years ago where AEW used to come to the city and is selling just off the strength of AEW coming. What's on this card? What's happening? I mean, I remember the first show that they did on Thanksgiving Eve, the big thing that made people excited for that show. I believe I bought my ticket last minute was the CM Punk and MJF promo at that show. Mm-hmm. And so I think, like I said, once they start announcing things, the tickets will start selling. And they've been doing a really good job of doing promotion in cities. We just seen our guy Swerve doing the promotion in city, which was very fun.
Swerve's house.
Yeah, him and the baseball mascot behind him when he was trying to promote the show as well, which was also really funny, man.
Yeah, all of it has been hilarious.
But yeah, I think they've been ramping up doing local promotions. So I think that's going to change as well.
Mm-hmm. And Chicago is Chicago. They're going to come. If you could convince them with a good match the day before, they'll show up.
Yeah, I'll be there. So.
Devil Kazuya 27 is being a disgusting sicko, saying, "Who will Big Show pin? Who will Big Show pin? Hobbs, Ozzy, or Brian Cage?"
Ozzy. Is he talking about Fletcher? Kyle Fletcher?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I would like to hope the Big Show is not getting the win for his team in that match.
With a team with Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi, and if Big Show ends up pinning somebody, Phil, I'm coming to Chicago and we're gonna go and fight somebody.
Has it been explained why Brian Cage is in this match?
Prince Nana is loaning him to Don Callis for money.
Okay. I just don't know why this match is happening, but yeah, I don't want to get into that. What a weird hodgepodge mix of wrestlers for this match. I just don't really get it. But no.
Big Show ain't pinning nobody. He's out of here. This is the last time you're ever going to see the Big Show. He's done. And when he gets in with the big homie, you're going to get it, Big Show. Watch Collision tonight, and you guys will get a little bit extra on it.
Gonna get the big spine buster?
Also Big Show. I seen him walking down to the ring, and I'm like, brother.
Oh yeah. Devil Kazuya is right. He says thinks it's because Sammy is still out. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's the real reason.
Sammy's still nursing concussion issues, I believe.
Yeah, which is like touchy-feely, and get well soon, Sammy. That stuff sucks, man.
Yeah.
Will Chisholm says, Triple H got Kyrie and EO talking to Julia, saying it's safe over here. That 78-year-old man finna be done.
Yeah, that was another one of the big news stories this week is that WWE is interested in Julia, which I don't think is news because I think that they've been interested in her for a while.
Yeah, something that's like duh.
Yeah, I feel like she just makes a lot of sense there. I just think if she signs anywhere in the U.S. and believe me, buddy, she is destined to be in the U.S. eventually. She's just too big of a star. It's gonna happen. I just think she makes a lot of sense for WWE. For their market, the wrestlers that they sign, she's going to be there. I just a hunch. Of course, I don't know anything for sure, but it just seems inevitable at this point. But yeah, when that report came out and people were saying, "Oh, she's going to report to the Performance Center," and I'm just like, "Well, she can't report to the Performance Center. She's still in a contract. I believe she's still signed into 2024. But next year, I could definitely see her ending up in WWE."
Definitely. They're going to throw a big bag at her. It's going to be looking crazy over there in WWE very soon with their roster of women. Chris also says, I feel like AEW needs more pay-per-view locations. Every year seems like they burn those markets out going to the same places for pay-per-views. And also it's I don't know what kind of coordination, but it's always legit. Like there'll be like a WWE show and then 3 weeks later there's an AEW show in the same market. Like they'll be in Texas at the same time. It's like, I don't know how this is happening, but you guys somebody needs to work together, because if you're trying to get me to go to 2 wrestling shows in the same month, I'm a sicko. I'm going to do it. But a lot of people aren't going to do that. And that's like the market is being cornered. I don't know how they could coordinate that. I don't know if they're doing it on purpose. I don't know what it is, but they got to change that up.
Well, you know what it is. It's competition. Like if you've got a show here a few weeks later, then I'm gonna have a show here. Come to my show instead of buying tickets to the other show. So I mean, it is what it is. But I think we're gonna see more of that with more pay-per-views. I think that some of the shows are gonna always be where they're at. Like All Out's gonna be in Chicago. All In, of course, is gonna be in London. Double or Nothing is probably always gonna be in Vegas. But now that you have 5 more pay-per-views, you can switch those spots up.
Right. Like the World's End pay-per-view, somewhere different. LA for a pay-per-view. Like, we're lit. Chris also says, rumor is Becky Lynch is the 4th member for the War Games match, which you got into a little bit. And then Will Chisholm says, I do think the end game is Bayley versus EO for the title at WrestleMania 40.
I wouldn't be mad at it. I could also see a big multi-women match.
Yeah, with kind of how everything's shaking out right now.
Yeah.
That's all of our super chats for now.
Yeah, I believe we have a ton of Humper chats. Screen is still loading for me.
Loading. We got a bunch of AEW stuff to talk about here soon.
Yeah, might actually have to go to the other screen because I think we're off the screen, which is hilarious because I just waited for it to load.
Loading.
Here we go. From Gabe, he says, what's up, guys? Really enjoyed last night's show. Can't wait for Full Gear. By checking in with Phil to get an update on how Sacramento Kings were doing. If I do recall, you came to the Bay last year, Revolution, talking crazy.
He did.
I mean, look, I still think the Sacramento is going to be one of the better teams. I mean, look at the Clippers. Clippers have been in shambles since Harden got there. Lakers are out here getting blown out by Houston. And Orlando, like, what's going on? But Lakers are Lakers. They're gonna pull it out by the end of the season. They'll be in the top position. I still am predicting that Sacramento is gonna be a top 4 team.
I
don't know.
It's Warriors over here, but I see it. They're tough over there.
You gotta give it up to the Warriors, man. Warriors have looked a lot better than I expected them to this season. That guy Steph is Steph, man. I saw that crazy stat of him hitting 53s in the first 9 games of the season, which is just
sicko
absurd. Like he's putting up like MVP type numbers, man. He's going crazy. Chris Paul is fitting in. He's getting a ton of assists because he's getting those weird stat lines where he have like 9 points, but then also have like 15 assists. So he's fitting into his role. I think Warriors look a lot better than I expected, man.
Let's go, baby. Y'all know what time it is. At the end of the year, Nuggets. Damn.
It's going to be tough for them because they just don't have the size to match up against some of these teams, and that's what's going to be hard. But they played well against the Nuggets the other night. They looked good, but Nuggets also still look like the team to beat.
You can beat them 4 times. It's going to be tough as hell for anybody.
It's going to be tough, man. That guy, that was another thing stat-wise this week, and seeing how fast my guy, seeing how fast Jokic broke that record to move up into 4th. Now he just moved past LeBron to be in the top 4 players of most triple doubles for all time.
Sick.
And he did it in 813 less games. This kid is under 30 and he has 109 triple doubles, man. Like
that's crazy.
He's on pace to easily reach the top of that list because I believe the top right now is Russell Westbrook, and I think he has it by like 128 or something like that.
He's beating that real soon.
He's on pace by the end of his career to be all-time leader in triple doubles. Because like I said, he's not even 30 yet, so he could easily lead that. But yeah, seeing him hop into the top 5 because remember how long Oscar Roberts held that record. Remember how long Magic had his spot on that list. I keep telling people Jokic ain't no joke, man. But yeah, no, I'm not wavering on my respect for the Kings, man. Kings look good. Houston Rockets also look good, man. I gotta give them their credit. I said going into the season that they were going to be a team to keep an eye on, and they've been on a win streak. I think they've won like 6 games in a row.
They washed that stink away. You know what time it is? Like, look, we gotta switch the game up, get back to basics.
Yeah, they got M.A. Udoka out there, man. They've got some good players. Dylan Brooke is on his revenge tour, man.
Mm-hmm.
Jalen Green's playing good. Speaking of M.A. Udoka, we got that wild clip of Jeezy talking to Nia Long. Shout out to Jeezy, man.
These crossovers, every time they announce a crossover, I'm like, why is Nia Long talking to Jeezy? But I see why.
Well, I mean, he said on the new album, man, as soon as he sees Nia, he's going to take a shot because, he's recently divorced. And
Nia was just like, all right, good luck, brother. Good luck out there.
Called him brother, my brother Jeezy, and her tweet promoting the interview. I was like, dang. He did all that dirty macking in that interview just to end up in just brother mode. Damn. Hate to see it.
You hate to see it. Sometimes, look, women are like that, especially sought after women. Like Nia Long's been hearing her names in raps for her whole career. She's like, that ain't enough.
Yeah, we just talked about Nas. The line off Uchiwali, the J. Cole line.
Cole, yep.
Yeah. See from Tony P, he sent a few. Let me line him up. He's got he says Petty of the Week is CW wouldn't let Billy get a mug and box before they told him NWA to file their government assistance. Yeah, man. Hey, man. CW's
they have morals.
They're going where the winners are, man. I guess
I love it. It's gonna be so good. I can't believe they fucked up that bag. I can believe it again, but
but
crazier things have happened.
To fuck up the bag doing that though, like
I've seen some bags get fucked up, but like this was so avoidable.
Very much avoidable.
Not do that.
He says I'm gonna make it quick this week. How did AEW tone feel? How did AEW tone feel to you this week? Did it feel different? To me, the strong shows were Dynamite and Smackdown. Rampage was okay. Raw, NXT, and part of Lone Star were meh. Likes Joe dropping the belt. Hopefully it's leading to a full reset for Ring of Honor. Hope we get reasons behind it as well. Mariah getting her big shine. The second half of Lone Star was great. More women visible on AEW. Now let's get second match, TK. He also said the new Damage CTRL. Yeah, we know Bailey's getting jumped. But let's enjoy it while we have this version. Excited for the women's War Games match more than the men's. Then he says dislike the Texas crowd for New Japan Lone Star at May looking at the first half of the pay-per-view a damn chore, like a Raw. Mostly positive this week, and shout out to all those that voted in this week. He's got a fifth one in here that I'm missing. Here it is. And before I go, does it still feel weird to you that Cam and Mace are doing a sports podcast? Nonetheless, happy being in the same room together, knowing their past. It's like Phil and Colton having a business and hockey show. Phil and Colton. Oh, okay. Punkin and Colgan Manor having a business and hockey show somewhere. That would actually be fire, seeing the guys talk about wrestling. I don't see that happening anywhere, but yeah, he said a lot in there. It was a lot that I kind of agree with, a lot that I'm just kind of like, Like I said, I thought Raw was good this week. I thought SmackDown was fine, but I thought Raw was good this week. I thought both main WWE shows were good. They both did a good job of building to the pay-per-view. Like I said, I thought the Sammy and Seth match was good, and I thought they did a good job of getting us excited for the men's War Games match. I do agree with him that I'm more excited for the women's War Games match because we've seen so many iterations of a multi-man match with Judgment Day and those baby faces at this point. At this point, I'm curious if it's going to stay a 4v4, if it's going to be 5v5. Definitely feels like they could add Drew to the Judgment Day side. I can easily see that happening. I don't know who they would add to the I don't know how they would add to the babyface side. Maybe KO. I don't know.
The only interest the super interest I have in the men's side is just seeing Cody finally be in this damn match. He's been promoting that dad's match. I haven't been in a real one, he says. So just kind of seeing what he does in that element, I think is the most intriguing about it.
Yeah, that he's front and center on the poster. That poster is hilarious to me. He's got the army.
So funny.
He's got the army makeup, and he's coming up out of the water. Yeah, man, I'm excited for Survivor Series. I think it's going to be a good show. Of course, they've also teased out who is going to be the fifth babyface. Some people are saying it could be Orton. I know.
I could see it. I guess so. They've been reports of Orton training there, so that would get a super huge pop for sure.
Yeah, but the big thing he talks about out of there is the Samoa Joe title situation. Some people were very, very upset about this. I think it makes sense. I think that people are upset about this. It's gonna be fine in a few months. I definitely feel like this, if anything, raises the percentage on me thinking he's gonna win that title by the end of the year. I think Samoa Joe is gonna be the guy that beats MJF, and I think that's why he dropped the belt. So I'm fine with it. And I also don't think that like he's doing anything particularly new with the ROH title. You could give that belt to somebody new and have them have a reign with it. Yeah, I get, should he have put somebody over? You could have gave somebody the rub, but you don't want this guy to take a loss if he's going to go for your main title. So I understood. And he definitely wasn't taking a loss to Keith Lee. Keith Lee's not what he was when he first signed. He hasn't been on TV as much. It would have made no sense for him to just randomly get this Dynamite match and then beat Samoa Joe, who's been undefeated as champion for over 500 days.
There's some people are making the argument, what if he lost it in a multi-man match?
Yeah, I can see that. But, I mean, I'm fine with him dropping the belt this way. You can do a tournament or something. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think people that are upset about it have not come to the conclusion that Ring of Honor is kind of in the mud, like we've already to the conclusion a long time ago. So I was just kind of like, I mean, this is what the status of Ring of Honor is, man. Like other than Athena's pretty much carrying that show, but like even look at the state of the tag belts, like.
That shit got me good. Listen, initially, as somebody who's invested, has to review Ring of Honor, I was like, I guess they just don't care about us. But that they've been telling me that they don't care about me for a while.
All I want to say is that they don't really care about us.
Straight up, they told me a bunch of times they don't care about us, and so like now I'm like, all right, who cares? Like, well, nothing's gonna that doesn't do anything for anybody. It makes Samoa Joe look good. He's a badass who held the belt for 574 days. Nobody could beat him, so he vacated it. In storyline purposes, if I give up this championship, all my focus is on MJF. I don't have to think about contenders over here. I don't have to think about showing up to ROH TV. I don't have to think about anything attached to that. I'm trying to get MJF, and I want zero distractions. So here's this belt. As a championship that needs to be in Ring of Honor, I keep gassing me up, and then they'll put it on somebody that's also not going to be on there. So I don't know what's going on here, but
Joe wasn't on ROH that often anyway.
No,
it was clearly they were making the move for him to be on the main show.
Yes.
So like I guess it just doesn't bother me. I think if you're still like, man, why won't he do things to make ROH better? Look, man, that ship has sailed for me. I already see what it is. And so I'm just hoping that they eventually get the belt off of main AEW guys and just reset the brand. Just put the belts on people that are exclusive to ROH and just keep it rocking, because it's very clear when they put the belts on AEW guys, they're not going to show up regularly on the show because they've had so many situations where it hasn't. So
Max has been on that show 0 times since he's been Ring of Honor tag team champion.
The Hung Bucks were never on the show as
0 times. Yep. Same thing.
Yeah. So I mean, how often Claudio was rarely on the show as champion. That's just what it is. And so, I mean, I get why people are upset, but I just was sitting there like, nah. I mean, Joe's gonna be champion, and it's gonna be great. And he got a record-setting title reign. I believe he now holds the record for both the world title and a TV title, doesn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I mean, Joe's a legend, man. Joe's a Ring of Honor Hall of Famer. I'm fine with it.
I'm
not
just
losing sleep
accepting
over it.
I'm accepting what it is at this point. Like,
Yeah, I think that's what it is for me too.
now Ring of Honor is just the show that my indie wrestling friends are going to get a shot on. So I'm excited about it. Like last night, shout out to Brooke Havoc and Johnny Robbie who got a shot. Shout out to the homie was on. The other homies were on TV. But anytime that they have like cool independent wrestlers on there in the local market, that's what it's about now. It's not about like I've seen a bunch of people when they were talking about the CW deal of like they should have put a Ring of Honor on there. I'm like, it's not. That's not what this is, you guys. Like, stop.
Nah.
We need to stop thinking. And then people are still like, I can't wait till they announce the Max deal so Ring of Honor can. This isn't that. Stop thinking that. We gotta move on. Ring of Honor is this Honor Club brand here for people to get reps in, people to get kind of acclimated with the company and kind of push for the AEW thing. It really is just a developmental brand. It's not the Ring of Honor that it used to be, and it's not going to be. So just like that's
Yeah, I wanted to improve. They have people back there that care about Ring of Honor, but the product is just not where I want it to be. And I think if you look at this move, it definitely kind of shows you what they think of Ring of Honor.
It's just a good wrestling show with good wrestling matches. Do you like that? All right, here you go.
I mean, like I said, I'm not all that upset about it, but I definitely saw a lot of people tweeting and ranting and being upset about it. I get it. I'm just not in that place. I see the story. I see the vision. Of course, it ties in with the devil stuff.
So you think Samoa Joseph is going to be the champion at World's End?
I think he's going to win.
Damn, Jay White, bro. What about Jay White? He has been written off.
Jay White's losing, man. I've been saying that for weeks. He's losing. It's very clear that he's losing, and I believe that Joe's going to win by the end of the year.
Him coming in creeping this week after that attack, like, bro.
Yeah, with the maniacal laugh afterwards, like, sure seems like he could use some friends.
I see you, Joe. What you was doing here?
I think this week kind of confirmed for me that the devil is probably Adam Cole. Like the fact that the first time we saw the devil in the building was the last time that he was in the building physically, and every time we see the devil now, he's on the screen, kind of like Adam Cole is always on the screen in a way now. The fact that he's been saying, nah, man, why don't you just accept Joe's offer? Team up with Joe. Coming from a guy that has beef with Joe now because the last time he was in a ring, he was trying to help Adam win. And yeah, man, I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. He wants you to team with a guy that he knows is not on your team. Nah, man. Adam.
Yeah, I'm kind of under that.
Adam scheming, man.
Too, because them attacking the Acclaim this week, he's like, I don't want nobody to team up with this fool. And you didn't choose the Kingdom to help you. Like, there's all these reasons that he could be that guy.
You didn't pick the Kingdom, guys that are also very clearly your ops. No, he wants you to team with guys that are clearly not really on your team.
Right.
And those guys that claim, they really want what's best for Max. And so, yeah, I got
Adam Cole wants your downfall, big dog. We don't want people wanting good for you.
Yeah, Adam. I think Adam's very clearly the devil at this point. Which I think is a good storyline. Of course, it would have been better if he's not injured and, he could have won the belt before the end of the year. But right now, I think it's looking like he's the devil. But, man, Max has got a lot of enemies out there, man. I was just sitting looking at it. Yes. He's got a lot of enemies, man. Wardlow's still creeping around, writing like angry rants about him every week.
Wardlow's being pretty emo back there for sure. He's in the dark. He's talking about the past. He is not happy about nothing.
Nah, he's sick of this dude, man. Joe is like, nah, I don't need this belt anymore. I want that belt. I want that big gold one. Yeah, man, you've made an enemy out of all the Bullet Club guys, man.
Kenny Omega's still looming back there. He got his match, but he's still mad. He still wants that belt. Like, yeah. This is of course, like I said, this is how the world champion should be booked. Everybody should be like, I want that belt. I'm gonna kill MJF to get it. I love that Samoa Joe. Like, again, initially I was like, damn, but now thinking about it, I was like, damn, that's badass. He threw this belt down to be like, I want the real championship. That's how everybody should be like. This is cool. I had fun with this. I thought they might have gone with the Impact way of dealing with this. I vacate this championship to get a shot at yours, which I thought could have worked a little bit better, but that is also Impact's idea. But I like that. Like, I'm the best champion. I'm done beating people up over here. I want that.
That option R.
Option R.
I think it's really cool. I think him making a point of like, no, I was your king of television, and I was basically undefeated. I've beaten everybody you guys put in front of me. I was a great TNT champion and all these other things. No, I want the main belt. Enough. I think it's dope. Like, man, I think that visual of Joe with that big belt over his shoulder is gonna look dope. I'm here for it, man.
I'm here for it too, honestly. Like, I was super into Jay White kind of being the champion. It's unfortunate scenario that he's landing in, but like, if we're getting a Samoa Joe title reign with the way that he's been doing, sign me up, big bro.
I ain't mad at it, man. Like, again, you seeing him back in the crowd at Halloween Havoc. This guy showing up next to DNA at like battle rap with like the big belt over his shoulders, man. Sign me up.
We all know the famous Wale mania of him rapping the public service announcement. Like, Samoa Joe is us.
in Philly this year, man, him possibly being out there at Wale Mania during WrestleMania weekend with the big belt over his shoulder.
Okay.
Icy, bro. I want to see it, bro. Sorry.
I'm in. Sorry, Jay White. You're sorry, Max. Like, yo, Samoa Joe. Yeah, that's super hot. I'm all into it.
Yeah, I'm here for it, man. As a big Joe fan, I want to see it, man. I wanted Jay White to win as well, but it feels like the Joe thing is happening.
Circumstances. Yeah. Let's get into a couple of super chats. Irene C says continuous investments in their under 35 roster should be the work/optics AEW is putting forth right now. Keep Flair, Jarrett, Big Show, etc. off my TV.
Yeah, I felt like that was definitely the thing that I took away from the opener of Dynamite this week. Sorry, we didn't really answer your question about that. Now that I think about it, we didn't answer your question about the feel of Dynamite this week.
Yeah. This kind of ties into that, so that works.
But I definitely feel like the opening match drove home the point that they should be focusing more on younger talent and not so much on the older guys. And I mean, I think AEW has done a great job of bringing in veterans and giving them like a second chapter. Like when you think about what they've done for like Billy Gunn and Christian Cage and even Bryan to a degree. Like they've done a great job with veterans, but at the same time, the thing that made AEW so refreshing when it started is that this is a new promotion with new faces, alternatives. I mean, Cody came in straight out the gate saying, fuck the attitude era. And so to go from that to now being like a nostalgia show where you can see guys like Paul White and Ric Flair and all these guys, like, all right, well, it's not as much of an alternative as it used to be. So I agree. I think that they should focus more on new talent. It did very much feel like Max was trying to drive that point home on his own. He kept trying to get chants started during the match, and the match was good. I thought it could have been a little bit longer, but also after the match, getting in the camera and saying this basically like this is a young man's promotion. I'm like, I feel you, Max, as champion. You're probably one of AEW's best success stories in terms of like homegrown guys, even though he's technically not a homegrown guy. But you know what I mean? I get it. Also, the double XL photo shoot he did was also fire. But I think that your company's got to make that same concentrated effort, man.
Right. Yeah, I think as far as the optics go, I think this is kind of what AEW needs to get into, what they got into this week on Dynamite. Just give us super fire matches and just tell stories around them. That's all we really want. It's not really that complicated. And you don't have to stretch so far out of the realm of whatever you were doing storyline wise to mix it up, like how they did Swerve and Penta this week. Like it ties into all the story, it ties into everything that's going on, but at the core of it, it's just a super badass match that we get to see. So we get to see this badass match. They're still telling stories. They got back to basics with a lot of that. The Joe and Keith Lee match was badass too. A lot of just great work. Max and Daniel Garcia, just like put a dope match on, have the match, tell a story around it, and that's what brought us to AEW, an alternative. Like, it's pro wrestling, so there's always going to be some kind of nostalgia acts, and we all know kind of like the history of Tony Khan. He's a big, 90s, 80s wrestling fan, so there's always going to be elements of that. But yeah, at the forefront of this needs to be the Daniel Garcias, the MJFs, the Dante and Dariuses, the Hooks, those people that are going to be the future of in 10 years, we are not going to see Flair and Jarrett and Big Show. We're going to see Dante and Hook and Danhausen or whatever,
Yeah, and I mean, they've done some good things. Like, I mean, boy, that reaction Julia Hart got on Wednesday.
Julia
They
Hart's out of here.
they've done a great job of like doing the long term character building with her, and you can see the dividends finally paying out. And I just think I would like to see more of that. Like, of course, Ricky Stark's another good example where Ricky's doing well right now. The reactions to him are doing well, but yeah, guys like Garcia, I would like to see like some kind of stories and character building with him. Yeah, the dance and stuff is over, but man, get him into some storylines, man. Same thing with Lee, man. Where's Lee Moriarty, man? Get some of these younger guys on TV more.
Yeah,
I mean,
Julia is a success story. She got a pretty big pop last night in Oakland. Like, soon as her music hit and people know that it's her, like, she's one of those people are invested, man. Like, right up along there with the stuff that Tony Storm's. I know Tony Storm's a little bit more outlandish, but like, we're talking women character work. Like, people are super behind Julia Hart, and I don't know if that's initially what going in AEW one. I'm sure it did, but it kind of felt like the rocket was being strapped to Sky Blue's back. But like, Julia just came in and like, people are really attached to them. I think people just love House of Black so much that like, any kind of lore attached to that. And Julia's doing a great job to like get people more invested of it. Like, people just love that what their group is doing.
Yeah, Julia's definitely out of here to the point I'm like, man, you might need to put a belt on her soon.
Yes, I'm saying it's always the time the inevitable ones. Like, Tony is so hot that like, you got to put a belt on Tony Storm. Julia is in that same way. It's like, damn, everybody likes her. She's getting the big pops. People are tuning into her segments. Like, yo, might be time.
Yeah, but I do think this episode of Dynamite, of course, was better than last week's. I thought that this was more restoring the feeling. I don't know how consistent it will be, of course, because it's just one episode. But I like the opener. I thought the opener should have been a little bit longer, but I enjoyed it. I always enjoy Max showing everybody that he is a technical wrestler, man. He he did get like a pure wrestler to tap out in this match, and I think that was definitely a point he was trying to make. Like, nah, y'all keep trying to say I'm just a talker, I'm just a character. Nah, I wrestle. And I appreciate him toning down a lot of the character stuff he usually does in his matches. You didn't see a lot of kangaroo kick stuff. You didn't see as much of him playing to the crowd. It was straightforward technical wrestling. So I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot. Of course, Swerve versus Penta with fire.
That's crazy.
Great match. Great to see Red Velvet back. I thought she looked great in both of her matches this week. Got a big win over Ruby Soho last night.
Loved it. Yeah, she looked great yesterday.
Yeah, so I thought it was a good episode. I mean, I like where they're going with the Bucks stuff. I do think it's odd to go from having a title match coming up to going, oh, we're going to put our title match on the line at the pay-per-view. So are we not going to have the belts defended at that pay-per-view? I guess we're just doing that tag match instead. It's an odd choice, but I thought all of the backstage stuff was good. Matt getting his shit off and getting the elite lore going again. I thought all that stuff was cool. Made a few valid points about Jericho in that as well.
Every time.
Made a few valid points. But I like where they're going with this. I think that match is a big match that feels like it belongs on a Full Gear card. I think that this match, this week's was definitely a big improvement. I enjoyed the Tony and Sheeta stuff as well. I thought this was a strong week for the women.
Yeah.
In particular, being the match, being the build for the pay-per-view match with Sheeta and Tony. I thought Tony is, as usual, really good at the character stuff. I thought the introduction of Mariah was good as well. Of course, we got that news as well.
Let's get into it.
Mariah officially debuted on Wednesday. I was about to say last night, not Rampage. But
how you feel about because the debate this week is how they introduced her. And I thought it was fine. I liked it.
I thought it was a smart way to introduce her because you weren't going to bring her straight in and have a match. I know people were like, "Oh, put 2 matches on Dynamite." Yeah, it would have been cool to bring her in and have her match, but you also got to realize that your main audience doesn't know her yet.
Yeah.
So you got to get to that point, and I thought bringing her in and attaching her to one of your hottest acts in the division makes a lot of sense. I've been predicting from the longest that she was going to team with Tony, so
there we go.
Hey, man, might need to start making Nas records about me.
I'm saying.
No, but
Negro Damas.
Classic Dave Chappelle skit
So
as well.
classic.
Uh, but no, I thought that this was a smart way to debut her because you're already putting her in the midst of a storyline with Tony and Sheeta, and then you're aligning her possibly with, like I said, one of the biggest acts in the division. I thought this made a lot of sense. I thought, of course, adding her in this position with RJ, and RJ is going to do a great job of, accentuating the character stuff with her. So I liked it. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I like that kind of what you said, that like a lot of the fan base doesn't know who she is, but also there are a certain section of their fan base who does know who she is. So she can just come out and be like, this is Mariah May. I was in Stardom. I'm this person. I'm all this. So there are certain that do know, but then there's this other side that doesn't know. So connecting her to the hottest character you have is probably perfect. And she's going to kill it immediately when she goes in. So I think just like, everything is a case by case. Some people should be debuted. They should come out to the crowd, maybe run in on somebody, or we should announce their date or something. And some people should come in like this. Like, I think everything could be different. It doesn't have to be the same.
Yeah, definitely makes me worry for Sheeta going into this pay-per-view because she needs some friends out there, and it seems like Tony might have a friend in her corner now. I like the way that they've handled the split of the Outcast so far. I like the idea that Tony left, and on one level you got Saraya saying, man, she's not even a star, but then you have somebody that immediately came to the company that's like, I came here for Tony Storm. I came here to basically be an understudy to her. Like, she went to Stardom, so I went to Stardom. She signed with AEW, so I signed with AEW. I like that. I like that aspect of the story a lot.
And with nothing, we should, of course, give it up. You said about Sheeta. We got to give it up to Sheeta because she's been hilarious in all the Tony Storm. Like, her being super annoyed by everything that Tony Storm did. Like, when she licked the pin this week and Sheeta was like, oh, you nasty. Yeah. Or when every time she comes out and Sheeta's like, what the? I'm tired of her coming out here. It's just been perfect. Like, you gotta, Sheeta has been the MVP of this women's division. Every time she's called upon, she knocks it out the park. So it's like also like, damn, maybe like it's not so bad that she could potentially lose the championship because, damn, give the homegirl a break, man.
Yeah, I want to see her retain at Full Gear, but I, of course, would not be surprised if Tony wins. I thought Tony did a great job as well for people that are like, what is the character? Kind of giving you a synopsis of what the character is in that brief contract signing where she was like, what happened to you? And she was just like, you happened to me. You ruined everything. And it's just like, yeah, I didn't get to make history like you did, so I had to become history. I'm timeless. And it's just like, no, that's a perfect summary of what the character is. I thought they did a great job with that. It's like I said, I think Mariah's going to be a good piece to the puzzle as well. So we'll see.
Tony Storm's in a great position though, Phil, because she could win or lose. Like, the story could be told either way. Like, if Sheeta does end up winning, Tony Storm can still tell a great story of being in despair of not winning the championship and trying to get back to it. But then if she does win, it's also a great story because then she's the crown queen again. So it's like, either way, she's winning.
I think if she wins, I think it makes even more sense with the Outcast split of like, no, I didn't need those other two. Like, I'm the star, and I am a 3-time AEW Women's Champion. It's me. I got to understudy. It's me. I think that this can work out really good. And I agree that Sheeta has added a lot to the feud. Just her facial expressions, her acting. I thought her English was very good in the contract signing segment as well. Go figure, man. You give the women storylines, you give them character and motivations, people will be interested, man.
Wow. I didn't think it worked like that.
I thought they also did a good job of building towards the TBS title match, where I assume the TBS title match is going to be for the pay-per-view. Looks like it's going to be a multi-women match.
Collision, some things happen. I won't give away any spoilers. Just watch the show tonight.
Yeah, so looks like we're building to maybe a 4-way. So makes sense.
Yeah, the women's division is getting excited. This is all we want, man. Just keep ramping it up, giving us more segments. It's helping that Tony and Julia are so over. Just like put more women in those positions so they can get over too. But yeah, Mariah May, very exciting signing. Megan Bain, very exciting signing. I think like the future of this, Julia is gonna be in the mix. I think too next year. Like, the AEW definitely be in the mix of offering her a bag. Like, the bag over there is going to be insane, but potentially she could be here too. Like, there's some things happening. Of course, always be remiss if we don't mention her. She's out there somewhere. Mercedes, wherever you are, we miss you and we love you and we can't wait for you. But yeah, she's always looming out there. So it's like,
wherever you are,
we got some good stuff coming.
But yeah, you mentioned the Megan Bain thing. That was also some news this week that Megan Bain has been signed to a tier deal. And so I thought that was really smart the way they handled not just her injury, but when she came back from injury, she immediately went to the excursion with Stardom, and she looked great with Stardom.
Cooking over there.
And so I look forward to her coming back because she's a unique character. They don't have a lot of women of her size as well. So I think she's going to do well when she comes back. I'm kind of salty we didn't get the Jade matchup by the time she came back, but I think that she's going to do well. Like, I still think
almost is kind of white Jade if we're keeping her to start.
White Jade is crazy, bro. White Jade is fucking crazy, bro. Nah, that's crazy. White Jade is crazy, bro. So I'm excited about Megan Bain. I think that there's some cool matchups for her. Like, obviously, like her versus Statlander could be fire. Like, there's so much stuff she can do when she comes back, and you have other wrestlers that worked on Stardom as well that I think she'll do well with. So I'm excited about that signing. I liked her when she was with Beyond. I thought she was doing dope things with Willow.
Yeah, she's good. She's a big star, honestly.
Yeah, I like her presentation a lot. I'm excited for her to come back stateside eventually.
Yeah, AEW, man, just keep giving it to us. Keep giving it up. That's all we want. Let's get into a couple more super chats. Aaron Busby says, birthday on Monday. Happy birthday, Busby. What you doing, man? Shout me out. You having a party out there in San Jose? Send me something. So just coming on here to shout y'all out. Favorite War Games match from the NXT Black and Gold era. Also, M is the GOAT. The GOAT of what?
I'm sure he's gonna be listening to copious amounts of Drake on Monday. And having a good time, man. Shout out to Busby.
Is Eminem the GOAT of white rappers? At least we'll give him that.
Yes. He is.
Yeah. So
I mean, he's among the top one of the top rappers ever. I mean, we've had this conversation before, but he's not
not
GOAT.
the GOAT. No, he's not my GOAT either. My favorite match is I was at the where Ricochet did the double Mooney.
Yeah,
I think that was in LA. I don't know who was in the match at all, but I remember being that. I remember recording that. So that's probably my favorite NXT War Games match.
Favorite. I'm a big fan of the women's War Games match, the match where Dakota turned. I thought that was a really good one. It might be that one. I think that women's War Games match is probably one of the best ones from the Black and Gold era. Trying to think of men's ones. The fact that I can think of the women's match first tells me all I kind of need to know.
I'm like, what were the other ones?
Because that was also the one where Rhea was having that hot weekend going into Survivor Series.
Oh, yeah.
She was in the War Games match, and then also she was in the Survivor Series match. It's probably that women's War Games match. I don't even remember which year that was. I think it was 2018. I think it was 2018.
Yeah, I can't.
This is where we always missed Will Washington because he always remembers dates.
Yeah, exactly. He always
knows. 2018.
I think it was 2018.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's ours. Chris says, when do you think the devil will be revealed?
Probably whenever Max loses. I think there's going to be like a scheme around it.
That's what's going to be his downfall, you think?
Yeah. Matter of fact, I don't think it was 2018. I think I'm wrong. I think it was 2019 because I think it was right before the pandemic.
Oh, yes. That's blurry.
I think it was 2019. Yeah. No.
But yeah, attached to MJF losing the championship, I'd assume, whenever that is. Then Stan Murrell says, thoughts on AEW's Doja Cat promo?
Yeah, we talked about it on here. It was dope. I thought it was a good look to focus on the women for once and give them a big promotional moment. I thought it was cool. And Doja's having a great year, has a great album out. and women looked very excited about it. So yeah,
They played it 2 or 3 times last night on the Big Tron, and I liked it. It looked even better on there. So yeah, I think it's a really dope collaboration, and I hope they just do more stuff like that. The energy of it is just cool, and to feature those women. And the funniest part is like those women aren't even really the focal point of AEW's women division at the moment. I mean, it's Tony and Sheeta, but like for the most part, it's like there's kind of a new guard of women's wrestling, which I think is really dope to see. But yeah, super dope promo.
Yeah, they had Britt in it. Of course, Britt has been in Chicago doing promotion for the new Thanksgiving Eve episode coming up. So I know she was at NBC. She did another interview somewhere in Chicago. So yeah, it's Britt. Britt is going to be a part of all of the big promotional stuff. So it made sense.
It's Britt.
Saraya was also in there. So no, I mean it kind of is all of the women that are like the focal point of the division. Willow was in there as well.
Willow looked great. 10 out of 10. No complaints. No reshoots. You did it. I would have just put the whole video Willow if it was me, but that's just me. Our homie Reggie Simmons says, Reg, you are right. Chicago and Oakland got similar vibes. I lived in the Lake Merritt area for a year and felt right at home. Much love to the town. I live in the Lake Merritt area, so yeah, it just all hits. Shout out to Reggie Simmons. Dope for submitting to us, and that's all of our super chats.
Yeah, I think we've got some humper chats left. I hit this Bizarro Big L one while DNA was here. From Wonga, he says, good day, Grapsody fellas. The Heat won a few games. Loki season finale, Marvel's movie, the credit scene, and New Japan updating their streaming setup and release of the app. It's been a good week. Yeah, we got a lot of content. I thought the Loki season finale was good. I'm assuming that's the series finale. Really, really good episode. Really good show. I think if you're looking for any Disney Plus Marvel show that I feel like gets the stamp of approval, I think that's the best Marvel Disney Plus show.
There you go.
It's not long. It's like 6 episodes for both seasons, so 12 episodes total.
Watch that in one day.
If you haven't seen it, check that out. I think it's a really, really good show. Tom Hiddleston is doing fantastic work. Also, Owen Wilson, all the other actors and actresses on there. Really cool to see. Once that strike was over, all of the actors and actresses were back outside. Like, yeah,
everybody.
Everybody was back in promotion mode.
I got this movie coming out. I'm doing this role. Do not forget, I'll be outside.
Yeah, really funny to see people going back and dropping stuff from backstage and like all this stuff to promote shows that are already out. Like, hey, I couldn't talk about it then, but I could talk about it now. Really cool to see, man. And great for the Screen Actors Guild.
Yeah,
that they got that squared away. They got their deal in place. Salute to them, of course.
Salute to The Rock and John Cena finally not having to answer their phone every time that WWE calls. All right, I got to go to work. Quit calling here.
Yeah, John is laying it on pretty thick with this retirement stuff on IG. I still don't believe you. No. But I thought The Marvels was a fun movie. If people haven't seen it yet, I thought it was great. I thought Miss Marvel kind of stole the show. Shout out to Iman, the actress that plays her. I think she is going to be a star. She's been great in everything they put her in. Yeah, I don't know the credit scene. I don't want to spoil it for people. It is a cool moment if you're a comic fan. I haven't really got into New Japan's new format yet. I've heard that they're still updating their archives and they're not gonna have it updated until the end of the year. Mm-hmm.
Got to catch up on the show from last night. I was, of course, at the AEW show, so I want to definitely want to see that Zack Sabre Jr. and Mike Bailey match. I'm sure they tore the house down.
Yep.
Will Ospreay got another 5 this week. I'm sick of him. He's tired.
Yeah, he's
sicko mode.
He's going crazy, man.
Meltzer was there last night at the show because he lives in the Bay Area, and he was wearing that same shirt, Phil, from when he came in when we were in that scrum, and I laughed so hard.
Shout out to Big Melt, man. To Big Dave Melt, man.
That's one of my favorite scrum moments of us sitting there and Dave coming in being like, dun, 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 dun,
he definitely came in there like Johnny Carson, man. It's crazy, man. Frantic World X, did I like the ending of Marvels? I did. I thought Marvels was a fun movie, man. I like the setup that they've done with it. Yeah. Excited to see what they do next. But yeah, appreciate you, Wonga. Shout out to Australia. Heat happened winning games. That guy Tyler Hero. It seems like they could have used that guy in the finals, man.
I'm saying, where was he?
He's hurt. He's hurt. He had the hand injury, but nah,
Damn.
Tyler Hero has been he's been back with a vengeance, man. Let's see, another one from Bizarro Big L. The Hulu deal is gonna cause headaches for Disney. Disney has cash flow issues. They have publicly hinted about selling ESPN and Lucasfilms, all of Star Wars and Indiana Jones. The whole Disney board may get thrown out. Insider Group has majority now. I don't know too much of the inside dealings with Disney, but I mean, it's Disney. This is they'll be perfectly fine.
They'll be okay. They will bounce back.
Yeah, we're talking about a $1 billion conglomerate. They'll be just fine. Make sure that I have all of our Humper chats. Let me refresh. Here we go from Len. Is it just me, or is AEW suffering from a lack of awareness? Ric Flair, Doja Cat to a lesser extent, and I saw online the makeup artists openly use racist, beauty-centered Jeffree Star products or talent. On talent, is there anyone else who is noticing problematic optics? I'm not. I don't know all of these people that you're talking about. I know the name Jeffree Star. I don't know specifically what happened with her. The Doja Cat thing. I mean, I don't know. I mean, of course, Ric Flair is problematic, but I just think that that's the thing with the entertainment industry right now. There's just so many problematic people in entertainment. It's just kind of unavoidable. I do think that it looks a way that AEW has positioned themselves as kind of like this beacon of hope, this like light in the middle of like this this industry full of dark spots. And I think we've quickly found out that, you know, business is business. And, you know, I might not be as excited about bringing Ric Flair in, but on the business side, they're like, hey, this is beneficial to us in some ways. I don't agree, but, you know, it's business.
I heard it and saw it with myself. But yeah, look, there's 3 seasons of Dark Side of the Ring, and we can make 10 more. Like, it's not, everything is crazy outside. It's like, where do you want to draw the line?
Infinite content, man. We got the premiere of Iron Claw this week. Definitely want to check out that movie eventually.
Me too. I can't be crying in a movie theater, though, so I might have to watch it at home because I know it's going to be heavy.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be heavy. But I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, no, I don't think you're alone. I think that people that had like rose-colored glasses on for AEW and defended everything they do, I think that they've had a lot of negative press this year alone. So I can see why you would feel away. But I think like a lack of self-awareness, that's not really just an AEW thing. That's just kind of
everybody thing.
That's kind of exactly. It's kind of a wrestling thing. It's an entertainment business thing. Bizarro Big L. The only GOAT opinion that is always wrong is LeBron James. Larry Bird and Michael Jordan would make him cry in any one-on-one. He would never win Mickey D Games Awards. And AEW incorporating Doja in the rap game is giving a well-needed shot of vibes. Yeah, I agree. You know how I feel about this guy. He's not my GOAT.
He said, "Yeah, I agree."
You know how I feel about this guy. This guy's not the GOAT, man. He's not. Jordan's better than him. I feel like it's a little bit disrespectful to Kobe to just act like that. This guy just jumped over Kobe, man. Like, but that's just my opinion.
No, Jordan's number one for me. I don't care. Nobody's out debating me on Jordan. But yeah, it's between them two. It's for the second spot, and it depends on what day it is.
Yeah. I've said for a minute, man, if Steph wins one more ring, he wins 5 rings, I'm officially going to start saying this was his era. And you have a hard time arguing that it's not. 5 rings and somebody is what's considered somebody else's era? No, it's his era. You can't say that he won 5 rings in the LeBron era and be like, no, it's his era.
No, Steph is definitely up there. He's definitely top 5. He changed the whole game. Like, I saw it with my own eyes, like the game of basketball change. So if
he win more one ring, gets out of here. And I mean, you can make an argument for him already, but he win one more ring. It's definite.
Let's get that, Steph. A couple more super chats. Well, Chisholm says, let's be real. John Cena will answer if he can do the show. Yeah, if Cena could get it around it, he definitely will pull up no matter what. SAG don't got nothing to do with it. And then Ronald Hollick says, do you think Mercedes versus Julia takes place at Stardom Wrestle Kingdom date show for the January 4th show, or will Mayu challenge for the IWGP Women's title at the show? Because they're doing a show the same day as Wrestle Kingdom, like earlier in the day. That's
but
kind of attached.
Mayu's the champion. Why would she be challenging for the IWGP belt?
Oh, she said, "Who will challenge Mayu?" Sorry, I got it.
Oh, okay, yeah. I don't know. I'm curious to see what they do with that show. I still think it's a missed opportunity to not have the Stardom women on Wrestle Kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully that's not a annual thing. Hopefully somebody will end up on that card. And I think Julia makes a lot of sense. Julia was, I believe, on the first Stardom. She was one of the Stardom women that was on the first match for Wrestle Kingdom. That was on the pre-show. That was the dark match.
Mm-hmm.
And she's done a few of those now, so I can see her being there. The audience should know her at this point. I don't know. It makes sense. It makes sense for that to be the Wrestle Kingdom match, but as of now, they haven't announced IWGP Women's Title match for that show. They should.
Yes. I like this. I like what they're doing, but I think that is kind of a better representation, having at least one match on the big show. But I mean, politics as usual.
I don't know who's going to challenge Mayu. I think it's a shame that belt started so hot and it's lost a lot of momentum because they kind of established another belt that kind of serves the same purpose. So I don't really get it, but I don't know, man. Hopefully Mayu gets a big match for that show. Right now, I'm not sure it'll be.
Right.
I did see Athena saying that she would be interested. I think that match makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm. And then Will Chisholm also says, "Here's how you know Julia's going to WWE when Stardom starts getting them titles off of her."
Yep.
WWE's going to offer her a giant bag, you guys. Just
yes,
know.
They are.
And Will Ospreay. That was another of course WWE's interested in Will Ospreay. Why are people acting like that's some crazy thing? It's fucking Will Ospreay.
Yeah.
That's all of them. Appreciate y'all for submitting super chats. Appreciate y'all for submitting number chats. Appreciate y'all for everything, man. Y'all are super dope as always.
I guess the last thing we have to talk about is how Ari Emanuel, successfully pulled the bait and switch on Vince. Vince is selling
successfully, man. Crazy.
Yeah, Vince is selling a big chunk of his stock. Why am I stammering all over? Vince is selling a big chunk of his stock this week. I believe he's selling 8.4 million of his. Let me get the official amount in front of me, so I'm not guessing.
I think it's 8.4. A lot of. They really got this old man, Phil.
Got him.
They saw him coming.
Ari was like, "All right, man, look, come on in. We want Vince. We want him to be a big part of the vision behind this company when we bring him in." And then all of a sudden it was like, that Vince guy, we don't want him.
Yeah,
it's like, hey, got this sell. And I mean, how this went, of course, if people don't remember, is that when they were first initiating the sale, Vince was like, "I don't want to sell to anybody that doesn't understand that it's a package deal. If you if you buy WWE, I'm coming with it." And they bought, and right after they were like, Vince is a detriment. We don't want that guy.
What did they say in that official form? That he's a risk factor.
Yes. Yeah. So the official amount is right. Vince plans to sell 8.4 million shares in TKO, which is valued at $700 million.
Oh my God.
That is nearly 25% of the current holdings in the company. So, when you hear that definitely seems like they're diluting, his control and his voting power over there. Again, I can't say that we know the truth behind why that's happening, but I don't think it's a coincidence that Ari said what he said, and all of a sudden this is happening. That's a big chunk of stock. 8.4 million shares is a lot of stock.
It must be pretty wild for Vince. Like, man, Phil, my entire life, my entire wrestling fandom has been Vince McMahon in the WWE. His business holding, his dealings, all the stuff surrounded that. And for him, the pizza, somebody out pizza the hut, and that's like, I've never seen the pizza get out hutted, and it finally did. And for him to already to be kind of like stunting on it because he like made a deal to like he's making like it's not just like they took his company and were like we're making it this like no they took his company and they're making it even bigger than he could have imagined it. Must be crazy to watch from the outside. It feels like he's on the outside now. And your son-in-law or whatever position he's in at this position is like leading the creative thing. Like you're out of here. We got you.
Yeah, nah, definitely got bigger slime came in the building and out slimed you. Bro, definitely got out slimed. And Ari was just like, nah, man, you know, we're making more money. All of a sudden we're going worldwide. We're doing what Nick Khan has already said he wanted to do. We're announcing shows in Australia.
We out of here.
We're out of here. And then on top of that, like when you look at the product, this is definitely Triple H book stuff. Like, nah, putting EO and Kyrie and Asuka together is definitely Triple H's move. That has Triple H written all over it.
1,000,000%. I could not see Vince McMahon being. I'm seeing Tozawa on TV. I'm like, Vince McMahon is at home, big bro. He is not at these shows.
We got Nakamura versus Tozawa on TV.
Yeah.
I mean, even the main event of Raw, like Sammy versus Rollins. That's a Triple H main event, bro.
That's Triple H main event as hell. So yeah, it's like we're seeing it with our eyes. That's what's even crazier about it. So it's like I still can't believe it that Vince McMahon isn't the leader of that company, but it's been really exciting to see all these developments. It's hilarious.
It is crazy because I mean, we went through like so many different peaks and valleys with this. Like we went from him retiring, then he's coming back, and it's like, all right, we're selling. But I couldn't even imagine, you know, a world where he's selling and he's not a big part, and then he's just like, oh well, I'm part of the sale. And it's like, oh man, we're never getting rid of this guy. And then, you know, Ari was like, ha ha ha, yes we are.
You thought
we are getting rid of this guy.
Actually, remember when I told you we wanted him to be our mascot? He's kind of a risk factor. Like, let's switch this up on here. It's crazy, man. His company, but the beat somebody out Pizza the Hut, and I got to respect that, man, because this company we've been hearing for a lot of years that potentially they're going to sell, they're going to do this, you're going to do this, and I always thought they would never sell because no one's going to be able to get this guy out, but somebody did it, and shout out to him, shout out to Nick Khan, shout out to Triple H. They all made this happen.
It's I mean, the fact that like you don't hear nothing from Steph no more, like you don't hear Steph linked to nothing no more. It's basically just like Nick Khan is slid in and Triple H is in creative, and Ari was like, yeah, this is the move. We out.
I see Shane at least putting the battery in his son's back. He's like, look, go over there and talk that mess. Say that you're going to be the next. You're going to be Roman Reigns, like nepotism. We out here in these streets. Like, we got to get something in here because they getting your boys out of here.
They definitely trying to groom their Nepo baby up and slide him in here, man.
You know what time it is, bro. Hey, go say grandpa, blah, blah, blah. Get up in there so we can run this.
Yeah. Yeah, just crazy
Declan.
to watch. Yeah, Declan. Declan.
We're never going to get rid of him. He's like, oh, Triple H's daughter too. No, we out in these streets. You know, Triple H's daughter is going to be world champion for sure. That's a guarantee.
Yeah, man. Just wild, man. Like that. I mean, just the value of that stock alone, just seeing it's like, this is just crazy, man. Like,
yes.
I mean, yeah, it's his company. So, I mean, it isn't that crazy to think about he owns that much stock. And he's not even selling all of his stock. But 8.4 million is a lot of stock, man.
It's a bag. A couple bags.
That's crazy.
25%.
Yeah, I man, again, just going back through the timeline of this, I never thought we would get a Vince McMahon retirement announcement.
No.
But we got a Vince McMahon retirement announcement, and then months later, he just was like, nope, I'm back.
No, I'm just kidding.
I'm here. And then it was like, all right, we're selling. And I was like, I'm not selling. Then all of a sudden, well, we are selling. And it's just like, this whole timeline is just wild, man.
And Vince is just like, I got this cane now. I'm old. I'll be walking down these streets. Got this mustache.
He's out here looking like he's out here looking like Ra's al Ghul and hanging out with with Undertaker, man. I don't know what's going on, man.
This is the wildest timeline.
I don't know what's going on, man.
This is the wildest timeline. Let's get into a few super chats before we get up out of here. Aaron Busby says, I told y'all back when he came to when he came back to the company, the universe was going to handle him. Sure, he got his dough, but he lost one thing that he craves the most: power. plays Big Rich Town.
Nah, he's still doing just fine, man. I mean, that's a lot. That's a big chunk of his stock, but I don't even think that's like half of it. I think it's around 30-40% of his stock.
He
so
got bags. He's good.
He's still just fine, but it is funny that, like I said, Ari did basically pull a bait and switch on him, man. I don't think that this means he got his comeuppance Busby, but it is wild that he kind of got got.
He's definitely in a different position than he assumed that he would be in, I'm sure,
Yeah.
And then we got a couple from Will Chisholm. I think people are acting surprised about WWE wanting Will and Julia because they think Vince is still booking and he would want them there. Triple H loves wrestlers like Will and Julia. Yeah, exactly. Kind of on the backs of what we're saying. Putting on show. We see Rollins and Sami Zayn in matches. We're seeing Nakamura and Tozawa. Like, we know what time it is. It's a different thing going on here.
Yeah. Oof.
And then he also says Triple H got Zia, LeBron, Raw, and NXT. We know Vince wouldn't have on TV. It's crazy how 97 DX is running all the shows.
It is, man. And that's another that is another hint that Triple H is running things. That Zia Lee was on NXT and she was on Raw trying to get her title shot with Becky.
Zia Lee.
Yeah.
I was like, well, I don't know what Zia LeBron is. Zia Lee on Raw.
Yeah.
Shout out to Will Chisholm. Appreciate you, Will Chisholm. You submit a lot of super chats. You're very active, and thank you for the support, brother.
Yeah, appreciate you. Let me double check to see if we have any Humper chats left. No.
A lot of wrestling. We got into it.
Yeah, a lot of wrestling.
Ross Agul. That one did get me good.
Nah, man. People that are making their Lazarus pit jokes, like, it does feel like this guy is getting in a Lazarus pit, and because he just somehow keeps coming back, man. I don't know what's going on, man. He just keeps coming back. Yeah, that's all our Humper chats as well. Yeah, man. But what a dope episode. Again, appreciate DNA for coming through. Appreciate you guys for supporting as always.
Yeah, I think that's it, man. Y'all are dope. We got, I don't got nothing to promote. Catch us every Saturday here on Grapsody Podcast. Rochester Edge, Philip Lindsey. Best time. This is such a fun podcast today. I'm so excited to talk to DNA. Again, shout out to DNA for coming through. And shout out to y'all for submitting super chats and everything and being active as always. Y'all are so dope.
Yeah, I got a good laugh this week because I saw Will post that GIF of himself from the Grapsody intro and had his name on it, and people were like, "Does that mean he's gonna be on a Saturday episode?" I was like, "I don't think that means, guys." Like, I mean, if so, then he's on something that we don't know because we did not talk to this guy about it at all.
I was like, this is a surprise to me if this is
if he's showing up on Saturday, we do not know about it.
And shout out to Will. He yesterday, before we get out the pod, he called me with the blackest phone call he's called yet. I was like, "Oh, I know my friend's gonna show up here for their wrestling show in town." So he's supposed to show up at 10:45, and so he calls me. I'm like, "Oh, Will's calling. What's up?" He's like, "Oh, yo, could you get a sponge? If you're black and you have a certain sort of, there's a hair sponge that you use to get the curls on the hair." Will Washington called me to bring him a sponge. I was like, "This is the blackest conversation I think we've had so far." You're in Oakland, so it makes a lot of sense, and it made sense. And luckily, I didn't even have to go buy one because I had one, because that's how black I am. And shout out to Will Washington, man. Good stuff, good times. I hope he got home safe. I'll see you again next week, and y'all are dope. And I need to talk about next week with Philip Lindsey too. We can just talk about it here live on air. I'm driving to Full Gear next Saturday, so we got to move Grapsody to a different day. I'm saying it out loud because that's what life is like.
Oh, which is funny because my niece and nephew's birthday is next weekend, so might not. Yeah, it might not have an episode on that Saturday. It might be Friday or Sunday. Yeah. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, no, I don't want to think about what is the blackest conversation we've had on the phone. It's definitely not that. I just can't even imagine what you consider like the blackest phone call we've had, because we've had wild phone call conversations.
Very yes.
But you know what it is. We appreciate you as always. This has been Grapsody. I'm Phil Lindsey, Righteous Reg. we are out of here.